That's correct.
That's correct.
Do you know to whom this vehicle belongs?
Geen idee nie, dat.
No idea, Your Worship.
So to pause for a moment, the past cars that we've seen all looked like normal civilian cars besides the ones that had the day call and the blue lights in the beginning. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, dat.
That's correct, Your Worship.
There's a gap, waiting, there's no vehicle coming through. What's the times? There's a gap between the vehicles, people are walking up and down, you agree with me?
That's correct, dat.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Then arrives a BMW X5, this is what I focused on earlier. There's a BMW X5, it appears to have blue lights in the front.
That's correct,
And at the
That's
back, if I
correct,
remember
Your Worship.
correctly. And at the back, you see the blue lights?
That's correct, dat.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And that's a X5, and the number plate is CZ61KNGP.
That's correct, dat.
That's correct, Your
To
Worship.
whom does that car belong?
Daai voertuig behoort aan
Those vehicles belong to
PSS,
PSS.
minister's vehicle.
It's minister's vehicles.
But you don't know which minister's in it.
Nee, dat.
No, Your Worship.
And there's a second X5, you're going to see it now. There seems to be a traffic jam, you can see. I've got it in very slow motion, but they're waiting there. You can see it's bogged up at the front there. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Second BMW X5 with the blue lights above it that you
That's
saw in the
correct.
previous video.
Correct.
And the registration CH18BDGP.
That's correct. Dit is die volgmotor van die minister.
That is the follow-up motor vehicle of the minister.
Now, from the video, we couldn't see any accreditation in any of those vehicles. Do you agree with it? On the video.
Van die video af, dis korrek, Nederla.
From the video, that is correct, Your Worship.
But in your version today, there was no need for accreditation because this was a change of protocol. Agreed?
Julle voor, soos ek genoem het,
Your Worship, as I mentioned,
daai voertuigakkreditasie
the vehicle accreditation
was vir die stadium.
was for the stadium.
The video is still running. We're watching people, but it's going very slowly, and the cars are bumper to bumper. There, you agree? Now on 1547 on the video. There's a minute of waiting like this, you'll see. Yes, I apologize. I don't know how to speed it up, but I was just holding it here so you can watch everything. And perhaps we'll be able to focus on it better, but I don't know how to work this machine. It's slowed down. You can see what should be seconds at the top is taking longer than usual. It's in pause mode, the system. As you testified yesterday, the cars seem to be waiting there because it goes into single file, or they're dropping people off. As I told you, I've seen the queues being dropped off just ahead of that gate.
That's correct, Julle.
So people,
That's correct.
dignitaries were being dropped off just ahead of that. You agree with me?
That's correct, Julle.
And
That's correct, Your Worship.
you could see it from where you were.
Glad nie, Julle.
Not at all.
Huh? But it was also, proceedings were slowed down because of the rain. You agree with me? Because here we're undercover, but out there you'll see umbrellas just now as well. Do you agree with me?
Julle, op daai stadium, ja, het dit nie gereën nie, dit het gedrup.
At that stage, Your Worship, it was not raining, it was drizzling.
Yeah, it wasn't a heavy downfall, but it had been raining most of the day and it was drizzling. Do you agree with me?
Julle, agbare by die begrafplaas,
Your Worship, at the cemetery,
het daar 'n storm oorgekom
there was a storm that passed in,
en daarna was dit net 'n drizzle geweest.
and afterwards, or after that, it was only the drizzle.
But the escorts used umbrellas to protect the dignitaries from the drizzle. Do you agree with me?
Julle, ek was nie by die begrafnis, so ek sal nie kan sê nie.
Your Worship, I was not at the grave side, so I will not be able to say.
You can see the vehicles have kept still there on 1547, 55 to 57. They're not moving, and the people are looking to the left. Do you agree with me? You agree with me?
Julle, ja, ek kan sien die man onder kyk na die linkerkant toe.
Yes, Your Worship, I can see the gentleman here down is looking towards the left.
Everybody is, sir. There's one exception, the person in the white. Absent the person in the white, the other 9 people in the 10 people in the screen are looking left. And I'm telling you, this is when you had stopped the accused vehicle. Do you have any comment?
Dit kan moontlik wees, Julle.
So the
It
vehicles.
can be possible, Your Worship.
So the point is, there's the convoy. You've stopped them. Everybody's looking left. Do you agree with me?
Dit kan wees, Julle.
It can be, Your Worship.
And you've stopped, and there's already a confrontation. You're going to see, as you pointed out in your evidence in chief, your boot is going to come on the bottom left corner. When it gets to 1549.04, you'll see. People are walking in. The vehicles are still there from the convoy. And you've stopped. You see there was a movement there. You're going to see it again now. But in 1 minute's time, you're going to see it clearly, your boot that you identified. You're there and you've stopped the vehicle and they're watching you. So what I'm putting to you, sir, is it's clear that they're a part of the convoy. Can you see?
Julle, volgens my was hulle nie deel van die konvooi gewees nie.
Your
Yeah, but-
Worship, according to myself, they were not part of the convoy.
Because you stopped them. They were in the convoy, you stopped them. You're there, I'm going to show you your boot now. At 1549.04. And everybody's standing there, some were looking in your direction, some were smiling, you'll see. I'm going to go forward on the time at the top there from 1548. It was about 20, we're going to go to 1549.04. But I'm keeping it in the slow motion to be fair to everybody. You're not on the screen now, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And can you see General Zulu anywhere on the screen?
Sy glad nie.
Not at all.
The other people that are in their step-outs or #1 uniform, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
They are part of the pallbearers for the coffin, do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
Most of them are very senior, high-ranking officers, do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
They're all, well, the three at the bottom here are watching you. Here's your boot. You see there on the left.
Dis korrek.
That's
At
correct.
1548. I don't want to go back, but you'll see they're around 50. That's your boot, you confirm it.
Dis korrek, Julle.
That's
So you-
correct, Your Worship.
So you've now stopped the vehicle and you're now moving back. Do you agree with me? I'm going to show it to you. It's in very slow motion. You see the seconds at the top there? 1, 15, 48, 52, 53. You move forward, your boot goes in and out of the screen. You agree? It's not, you can't see it now. You agree? You're stepping forward now, out of the screen, and you're going to come back. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
So there's a confrontation that's already taken place. Do you agree?
Julle, dit ja, wat gebeur het?
Your Worship, yes, what had happened?
Dis toe ek vir die voertuig gaan staan het
That is when I went and stood in front of the vehicle
om Wok te kontak
to contact VOC
vir toestemming
for permission
vir die voertuig
for the vehicle
om in te gaan.
to enter.
Something that we know you didn't do for any of the other vehicles. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
One other aspect, I've paused it. You weren't aware of the time, but they were clearly behind schedule from the program that I've read to you. This is because now we're at 15:40 on this machine, because they're not all exactly the same. It's 11 minutes to 4 o'clock. Agreed.
Ek sien nie, Julle.
I
What-
see, Your Worship.
What time was the burial meant to take place?
Julle, ek weet nie die tyd hoe laat dit gaan plaasvind nie.
I do not know the time as to what time it will be taking place.
So just bear with me. Yes, I've stopped it.
It is in order.
If we look at the program, so it's before the court, the part 2 of the proceedings, which was at the Orlando Stadium, was meant to finish at 1 o'clock, 1300 hours. So they were clearly running late. Do you agree with me?
Volgens die program, ja, Julle.
According to the program, yes, Your Worship.
I'm back on the video. So now you've got a delayed funeral. You've stopped the vehicle. You've stepped forward and back. Here comes your boots again. You can see it at 15:49:04, as I told you. You agree with me? Bottom left.
Dis korrek, Julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And then you see another shoe on the left. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you see a red umbrella coming in. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
Do you know whose umbrella that is, sir?
Nadat ek nou die video gesien het,
After I had seen the video,
ek gesien is die sambreel
I saw it's an umbrella
van die EFF.
of the EFF.
That's right. It's marked EFF. You agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And who's the person holding that umbrella, sir?
Ek kan nie sê nie, Julle.
I cannot say, Your Worship.
He's the protector that was in the vehicle. Do you agree with that?
Ek het hom nie gesien nie, Julle.
I did not see him,
You're going
Your
to see him
Worship.
now. You did see him. He held you back. I'll give you a clue.
Julle, as ons verder gaan op die video,
If we continue
Yes.
with the video,
dan sal ek dit sien.
Now,
I
the
will
two,
see it.
you see the umbrella and you see the two of you there in parts of your body and part of Mr. Malema coming through now, you'll see. Right. You see the man holding the umbrella? And he's walking towards you and you're moving back. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
He's pushing you back. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct.
You never pursued a charge against him. Do you agree with me?
Kan jy herhaal asseblief?
You never pursued a criminal charge against him. Do you agree with me?
Ek het hom nie herken nie, julle.
I did not recognize him, Your Worship.
If you did recognize him, would you have done so?
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
So now you've watched the video several times. You've never tried to identify him.
Julle neem.
No, Your Worship.
You see, he's pushing you back. Agreed.
Ek sien so, julle.
I see that, Your Worship.
Away from the vehicle, because we're going to see the vehicle now. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And that man got out of the vehicle. Do you agree with me?
Julle, ek het met my rug gestaan na die voertuig.
Your Worship, I was standing with my back towards the vehicle,
So ek het nie gesien wie het uitgeklim nie.
so I did not see who alighted or got out of the vehicle.
That's why if I tell you there are 4 people in the vehicle, you can't dispute it because you never looked inside.
Julle, toe ek die voertuig gestop het,
Your Worship, when I stopped the vehicle,
ek het met die bestuurder gepraat,
I spoke to the driver,
soos ek gister getuig het.
as I testified yesterday.
Ek het nie binne in die voertuig gekyk
I did not look inside the vehicle
om te kyk hoeveel mense binne in die voertuig is nie.
to see as to how many occupants or people were inside the vehicle.
So in your statement, when you said there were 3 people, you were just guessing.
Julle, wat ek gesien het,
Your Worship, what I had seen
is die bestuurder,
is the driver,
soos ek in my verklaring gesê het,
as I stated in my statement,
die persoon met die dreadlocks
the person with the dreadlocks,
en meneer Malema.
and Mr. Malema.
And you never saw this man who's about the same size as you. You didn't see him in the film.
Julle, waar ek gesê het, ek het nie my kop in die venster ingesteek om te kyk wie die voertuig is nie.
Your Worship, as I said, I did not stick my head or put my head inside the vehicle to see as to who was inside the vehicle.
The one thing you can see, Colonel, is this man has got accreditation hanging around his neck. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
There
julle?
it is. You
That's
see it.
correct.
We can see it clearly. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And he's pushing you back. And you're pushing forward. Do you agree?
Op geen stadium nie.
At no stage.
Colonel, I'll show you. You've just pushed forward on the screen.
Julle,
Are you telling us that we're seeing something that doesn't exist?
julle, op geen stadium het ek enige iemand,
Kan jy herhaal asseblief?
op geen stadium het ek enige iemand
Your Worship, at no stage did I,
iemand gestoot of gestamp nie.
at no stage did I push someone or bump someone. Direct translation.
It was on the screen. I don't know how to go back. The last time I pressed the wrong button. But we'll watch it again in due course. But I'm telling you, you're pushing forward. Have a look. You're pushing him away now. Can you see? He's behind you. And you're pushing through towards the vehicle.
Julle, wat daar kan gebeur het,
Your Worship, what was happening there?
dit is om jou balans te behou.
It was to balance, to keep the balance or balance myself.
Dis korrek.
That was to stop the vehicle going forward.
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct.
It had
Your
nothing to
Worship.
do with your balance.
Julle, as ek is gestamp
Your Worship, I was pushed.
en as jy gestamp word, dan verloor jy jou balans.
And if you are pushed, you lose your balance.
Backwards, not forwards. You're going towards the vehicle. You want to stop that vehicle no matter what from going through. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Let's see. Right. Now there's a third person there. You can see another foot. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you're being pushed. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And you're resisting.
Op geen stadium nie.
At no stage.
And you see Mr. Malema behind the umbrella. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
The person with the umbrella is holding you.
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And he's holding an umbrella at the same time. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
Your right hand goes down. Can you see? It's there on the screen, sir.
Dis 'n bietjie ver van julle, kan nie so mooi sien daar nie.
It's
We
a
can
little
see
bit
it.
further away from me, Your Worship, so I cannot see that so clearly.
Colonel, you've watched this several times, please. It's not that you have to see it clearly now. You've had your own copy of it for months.
Dis
Years.
korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
En as my arm so gegaan het, die edele,
And if my arm moved in that manner, Your Worship,
dit is vir om my balans te hou.
it is just for myself to balance or to balance myself.
Your
Your
worship,
Worship, sorry for interrupting. If the witness cannot see clearly, can he come closer and stand at this mic, Your Worship?
For social
it's
distancing
possible.
reasons, the
I
court has not
understand now.
allowed, but if the state do not mind, then
We
I
will
will
move
rather
on.
than let the witness stand
Thank
here.
you.
and
I
use
really
this mic.
support that suggestion. Thank you.
You may move forward, sir. Just stand here by the prosecutor's desk, the interpreter as well. Unless the interpreter can stand, if you can hear clearly, then you can just interpret from that
try, Your
microphone
Worship.
then as well.
I'll try, Your Worship. If I don't, I'll
Thank
leave
you.
it.
Yes, thank you. Is it much more clearer now, sir?
Dis korrek, edele.
Your Worship,
Thank
just to make the request as well, can the witness please just make one statement so that I can also interpret it as it comes out, Your Worship?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So you understand what the interpreter have indicated? Just give her a chance to interpret as well, so do not make too long statements. She's not next to you to stop you to say she wants to interpret. So just bear in mind not to make long statements.
Verstaan edele.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, Your Worship, the interpreter is just moving away from the mic, the record we need to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Han.
Thank you. So now you can see, in your hand, you've got the radio, I can tell you now.
Dis korrek, edele.
That's
So-
correct, Your Worship.
So you're in a scuffle with the man. He's holding an umbrella in one hand, you're holding a radio in the other hand, but you are out of vision. But it would be clear that you're scuffling with him with one arm each. Do you agree with me?
Edele, ek het op geen stadium met hom gestoei nie.
Your Worship, I at no stage wrestled or scuffled with him.
But you're not meek and mild running away from him.
Nie edele.
You're
Oh,
confronting
yeah,
him.
Op geen stadium nie.
At no stage.
And he's holding you back. You agree?
Dis korrek.
He's behind
That's
you.
correct.
He's holding you from behind. You see his arm over your right arm. Do you agree with me?
Ek stem met edele.
I agree, Your Worship.
And if you look at the umbrella carefully on the left-hand side, you see the EFF insignia. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And he's holding you back from Mr. Malema. Agreed?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
He's, to put it clearly, he's between you and Mr. Malema. Mr. Malema standing there. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your
And
Worship.
there's now somebody also behind Mr. Malema. Do you agree?
Ek sien nou.
I see that, Your Worship.
And the high-ranking officers are about 2 meters or 3 meters away watching, not getting involved. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
They seem shocked, but they're not getting involved. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
You can see there's a scuffle between the two of you. Mr. Malema's behind, and you're pushing back against him. You can see with your arm and with your body.
Hier op geen stadium het ek teruggestoot of gestand nie.
Your Worship, at no stage did I push back or did I bump the other party back as well.
If that's the
Correct
case,
translation?
Colonel, do you agree that he's behind you and he's pushing you away from the screen? He's pushing you forward.
Edele, ja, stoot my weg van hom af.
Your Worship, yes, he is pushing me away from him.
And away from the people.
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And now you can see the Mercedes has moved forward, bottom left, where your boot used to be. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
So you've got the Mercedes moving forward, and you've got the security protector holding the umbrella outside. So there has to be somebody driving the car. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And he's pushing you away from the car to the other side, to the opposite side of the entrance. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And the vehicle's moving forward. No, sorry, people are moving forward from underneath.
Dis korrek, edele.
That's
Yep.
correct, Your Worship.
It's the two constables, the female constables that you referred to. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your
You see
Worship.
them with their blue caps on. Agreed.
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
They're coming forward, and you moving away.
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And now they're coming behind Mr. Malema and the security officer, and you see the Mercedes. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And you're all moving in the opposite direction away from the camera. Agreed.
Dis korrek, edele.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And now the two police officers are coming in towards the scuffle. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
moving across the screen. The lady also appears to have a radio in her hand. She's moving forward. They're all moving forward towards you. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And at this stage, you're on the left-hand side of the motor vehicle. You've gone past the front of the motor vehicle, away from the screen, away from the camera. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Okay. It's moving back now. And I'm putting it's moving back because you're pushing back against them. Any comments?
At no stage did I push back.
Here we see you coming back. Agreed?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Moving away.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Across the front of the vehicle. So still preventing the vehicle from coming in. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And then you get pushed.
That's correct.
Agreed?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Away from the vehicle.
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you're holding your cap in your hand. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you have your glasses on throughout this whole ordeal. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Okay, so you have your cap in your left hand and the radio in your right hand and your glasses on. Agreed?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And you're moving back now away from the vehicle, and behind you are the two accused. You can see them both clearly now in the corner of the red flag. Agreed? Of the red umbrella. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your
Right.
Worship.
And to do it slowly so you can watch everything. You turn to face them. Agreed? You turn to face them. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you can see that they're coming forward towards you, as are the lady, the one lady, constables between you and accused 1 and 2. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you seem to be talking on your radio now. Do you agree?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And they're coming towards you. Agreed?
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Away from the front of their vehicle. Agreed?
That's correct.
You
That
see
is
the
correct.
umbrella coming back?
That's correct.
So I've paused now. So what you've got here is you're standing there, it appears to be talking on your radio, walking forward. They're on your side. There's a police officer behind them. There are 2 police officers behind them, between them and the protector. Would you agree with that?
That's correct.
That is correct.
The other people are in front of you watching.
That's correct.
That is correct.
They come forward, accused 1 and 2, and they push you
That's correct.
away from the
That is
vehicle.
correct.
Agreed?
Hier op daai stadium toe afstaan het was ek buite.
Your Worship, at that stage where I was standing,
Langs die kant van die voertuig en nie voor die voertuig nie.
I was next to the side, or I was at the side of the vehicle, not in front. Is dit wat u sê, meneer?
Dis korrek.
Not in front of the vehicle.
And at this stage, look at the 2 constables. The one, they're on the other side. They're between the accused. Do you agree with me? They're not near you.
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
I'm going to go forward. You go forward. They come behind you, and you can see that they both appear to be shouting at you. Is that correct?
Dis korrek.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Now you can see the EFF umbrella very clearly. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
Correct, sir.
You can see the person holding the umbrella very clearly. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
It blocks our view, but you can see that the clothing underneath the umbrella appears to be wet. Look at the protector and the person in front of him. Any comments?
Hier dat kan wees, maar ek kan nie sê nie.
Your Worship, it can be, but I cannot say.
Now they're moving forward and the vehicle's moving forward. Would you confirm that? You can see the line of
That is
with the
correct.
tire of the vehicle. And they're still pursuing you, and the car is obviously being driven by somebody.
Dis korrek.
That is
Which
correct.
means, as I'm telling you now, 3 people were out of the vehicle. There was still 1 person driving it inside. Do you agree with me? Agreed.
Gesê,
Your Worship, as I said,
toe die voertuig gestop het,
when I stopped the vehicle,
Ek het die bestuurder gesien.
I saw the driver.
Ek het Dr. Ndlozi.
I saw Dr. Ndlozi.
Die bestuurder het my gesê meneer Malema is in die voertuig.
The driver informed me or told me that Mr. Malema is inside the vehicle.
Ek het hom gesien op die agtersitplek.
I saw him at the back seat.
En soos ek gesê het, ek het nie my kop in die venster ingesteek.
And as I said, I did not stick or put my head inside the vehicle
Om die mense te tel in die voertuig.
to count the occupants inside the vehicle.
I want to put you, Dr. Ndlozi, accused number 2 is not in the front of the vehicle. Do you have any comments?
Dr. Ndlozi was links voor gewees.
The
Dr.
prote-
Ndlozi was in the left-hand side in front.
No, he wasn't. He was at the back. The 2 accused were at the back, and the driver and the protector were in the front, sir.
Soos ek het verstaan, my opinie is dat
Your Worship, as I understand it, my opinion is that
Dr. Ndlozi links voor,
Dr. Ndlozi was left front
bestuurder
next to the driver
en meneer Malema.
and Mr. Malema.
And you never saw the protector, so you're obviously incorrect.
Dis wat ek weet.
That's correct, Your Worship.
So it's not what you understand or your opinion. We're asking what happened and what you actually saw.
Ek het nie die drugsprotector gesien nie, Here.
I did not see the protector, Your Worship.
But there you are, in close proximity to him. He's holding the EF umbrella. He's the most prominent person in the screen, and you didn't see him.
Julle kan wees dat hy in die voertuig was, maar kan nie die voertuig gesien nie.
Your Worship, it can be that he was inside the vehicle, but I did not see him in the vehicle.
Right. Going to go forward. Yeah. The protector comes between you. Your back is now to them. And the protector comes between you and the accused. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
As does a constable in front and one from behind. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Right. And I think if you look at the top right corner, you'll see the general arriving. Is that right?
Bo aan die linkerkant, dis korrek.
The top on
Rechterkant.
the left-hand side, correct.
Left or right?
Left hand side, the one in the blue uniform.
The one in the blue uniform.
It's on the right-hand side of the screen, sir. You're talking on the right by the white vehicle, or on the left-hand side by the man in the step-outs?
Ek praat van die vrou bo by die wit kar.
I'm talking about the lady there on the top where the white car is.
That's the right-hand side, sir. That's die rechterkant.
So ek hier staan is dit my linkerkant.
When I'm standing from where I'm currently standing, it's my left-hand side.
You may proceed. Court will take judicial notice of the direction in regards to such, because the court is facing the same direction.
Thank you, sir. Right. Now you can see that the lady's moved forward. I want you to observe where the people are. That lady is now in front of the accused, and her arm is between you and the protector. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
Her
That
right
is
arm.
correct.
You know, move forward. Come together again. The protector stands between the accused and you, as does the constable. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
The other people are now involved. They're trying to calm the situation down. You can see them talking. They're not ignoring it anymore. There's one man in a medical outfit. I think he's a staff sergeant. He's one of the pallbearers, and his arm is out, smiling. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So he's trying to placate the situation. Do you agree?
Julle ek kan nie sê wat ek gedoen het daar nie.
But
Your
you were
Worship, I
there.
cannot say what he is doing, what is he doing there.
You were there. Tell us what you think he was doing.
Die persoon staan agter my, ek weet nie wat ek gedoen het nie.
Your Worship, the person was standing behind me, Your Worship, so I cannot say what the person was doing.
And you see you're moving forward. Can you see it? Towards them.
Julle daar word ek beweeg nie vorentoe nie, ek is aan die kant.
Your Worship, there I am not moving forward, I'm here towards the side.
Watch. Please, I'm going to do it slowly. You're going forward. Can you see it? Not against the side. You're going forward. Can you see? You see
Dis korrek,
that?
Here.
That
Alright,
is
thank you.
correct, Your Worship.
And Mr. Malema's turned around.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
The protector's still there, as is the constable. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And the medic seems to be holding you. His arms are towards you. His right arm is around your right-hand side, and the left is behind your back. Do you agree with me?
Dis correct, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you're still moving forward. Do you agree with me? You can watch.
Dis correct, Julle.
That is correct, Your
And the
Worship.
vehicle's moving forward at the same time.
Dis correct, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And it's going forward. The protector's between you and accused number 2. Accused number 1's moved to the back already. Agreed.
Dis correct, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And the vehicle's moving forward. I'm going to do it very slowly. Look at the vehicle, sir. In the left front, do you see it? Do you see the accreditation?
Julle, ek sien die weerkaatsing daar in die venster.
You see what?
Weerkaatsing.
I see the,
Weerkaatsing.
I see a reflection there.
Let me show it to you, sir. Now step forward, Julius.
May.
That looks like accreditation, sir. Do you agree with me?
Julle, dit soos ek sê, dis 'n weerkaatsing vir my.
Your Worship, as I'm saying, to me it seems like a reflection.
It's not. I'll show it to you. It's going to move forward. You see, it's still there. Do you see it still? There's no reflection there, so you can see something prominent on the dashboard. Do you agree with me?
Dis correct.
That is correct.
Yeah, can you, you're moving around. You've watched
You
this. I
can
don't know
move
how
to the
many
screen,
times.
sir, Mr. Venter. You may move to the screen to
That's fine.
have a proper look.
Julle, ek sien wat ek sien.
Your Worship, I see what I see.
Dit is 'n weerkaatsing.
It's a reflection of some sort.
Daar's waterdruppels op die windskerm.
There are water droplets on the windscreen.
And you can't see this. I can. Court can make its own observation of whether you're telling the truth. You can't see something on the dashboard there.
Julle, wat ek sê, ek sien 'n weerkaatsing na die venster.
You
Your
can't
Worship,
see.
as I said, I see a reflection of something there by the window.
If that's an accreditation, you never saw it. Do you agree with me?
Julle, waar ek het soos ek gesê,
Your Worship, as I had stated,
ek het nie akkreditasie gesien nie.
I did not see accreditation.
Okay, now I'll distract you, but let's just go back to the scene now. You are standing away. The constables are amongst the accused and the protector. Do you agree with me on that side?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Can you see where the general is?
Dis korrek, Julle.
Where
That
is
is
she?
correct, Your Worship.
So is agter daar langs man met die uniform.
Remains at the back there. Agreed.
Dis korrek.
Right, I'm going to go forward. We've gone a millisecond forward. I'll tell you, you can still see the accreditation on the dashboard. You say you can't see it.
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Because I want to point it out to you so that you can deal with it, and I want to be fair to you. If you look here, you see the drops of rain, but then you see a distinctive item on your dashboard there. I moved away from the microphone. I pointed out to you exactly where the accreditation is on the dashboard. You can, I wouldn't be able to say it's an accreditation, but you can specifically see an item on the dashboard. Do you agree with me?
Julle, waar soos ek sê, ek sien die weerkaatsing daar.
Your Worship, as I said, I see a reflection there.
Going forward, you see it's you at the back there, still going forward. You can still see the reflection hasn't moved. It's still, your reflection's still on the dashboard, that item. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
All the other reflections are moving. If you watch the bonnet, as I go forward, the reflection moves, but that item hasn't moved, the one that I showed you on the inner dashboard. Watch now and I'll show you. You see, it's still there. All the others are moving. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
So will you accept that there's something on the dashboard there?
Daar kan iets op die dashboard wees, Julle.
There can be something on top of the dashboard, Your Worship.
Thank you. Now, once we've established there, I want you to focus back now on the confrontation. Okay? I'm moving forward very slowly. You can see that the man in the white uniform, I think it's from the Navy, He's trying to calm people down. He's got his arm up and he's calming people down. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Nobody's telling accused 1 and 2, get out of here, you're not allowed to be here. You're the only person that's stopping them from going in. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And I hate playing the race card, Colonel, but can you see you're the only white person at all there?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right, we move forward. You can still, for the record, see the item that I pointed out to you on the dashboard. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
All the
That is
other
correct.
reflections have moved. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
The protectors between you and the accused. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
He's got the umbrella behind him and he's preventing a confrontation. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now the constable is in front of him to his right. You agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Right. And we go forward. She's coming towards you. Do you agree? And there's a man between the two of you.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And there's now an exchange of words, and the man in the white uniform still got his hand up just to calm things down or to say stop, whatever. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. We move forward. Number 1 is talking to that man. Do you agree? And he's pointing his finger. There's his finger up. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. And the vehicle's still moving forward, and that item is still visible on the dashboard. Do you agree with me?
Dis nog steeds die weerkaatsing, Your Honor.
I do see the reflection, Your Worship.
There's a driver in the vehicle. You can see that. Agreed.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Now, the constable is coming between you and Dr. Ndlozi, accused number 2. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. She comes between the two of you. The accused number 1, Mr. Mandela, is to the left at the top. He's not in close contact with you, and the protector is also moving away from you. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Accused number 2 is still in close proximity. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
And every
That is
time
correct.
I move the screen forward, the vehicle's moving forward to come in, and it's got its hazard lights on. Do you agree?
Ek kan dit sien, Your Honor.
I can see that, Your Worship.
Right, now watch. The vehicle's moving forward. There's a shouting. There's no pushing at this stage. The protector's between them. The other people are observing. There's a man behind you. He's holding you. Can you see? He's got a red beret on. He's a medic.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And he's holding you back. Do you agree with me?
Your Honor, ek ben net vashou, ja.
Yeah. Why would he do that, sir?
Your Honor, al wat ek kan dink is
Your Worship, all I can think is
om my reg te hou van
to keep me away from
beskuldig nommer 1 en nommer 2.
to keep me away from accused number 1 and 2.
Right. Now you can see clearly, just for record purposes, there's the driver of the vehicle, and you can no longer see the item on the dashboard in this picture. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct.
We go forward. Vehicle's moving forward. The altercation is apart. That guy's still holding you. He's pulling you back, and you see you're coming backwards. You see it?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now watch, the one constable has jumped in front there. Can you see her in front of you?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Vehicle's moving forward. There's the constable. So now you've got the two accused on the outside of the circle of people. You've got the two constables directly in front of you and another man, and the protectors in front of the two accused. Do you agree with that?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
The medic is still holding on to you.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
There's a man walking past behind you,
Dis korrek.
and
That is correct.
and the one constable facing you is moving towards you. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
The vehicle goes forward, we're going forward. The accused are at the back. And the constable's coming towards you. Agreed?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your
That man's
Worship.
still holding you. There's an exchange of words, but there's no physical touching between you and the accused at this stage. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. At 15:49:32, that constable still moving towards you. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Accused are moving away behind their handler. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. Still the same procedure. She's coming towards you. The medic is still holding you. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And they're talking. You can see accused number 2 has now lifted his finger. Dr. Ndlozi is talking to the man in the white uniform. Agreed.
Dis korrek, yes.
That is correct.
Right. The medic still got you, and the constable is even closer to you. Agreed.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Vehicles moving forward at every juncture. You agree?
Dis
Just
korrek.
wants to get
That
in.
is correct.
Continues. You can see there's an exchange of words. That medic is now, you've gone out of his grip, you've moved forward, but the constable is still in front of you and she's talking to you. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
She's coming towards you still, and the accused are moving away, but talking to the other gentlemen, the other officers in the screen. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And the medic is still holding you now,
Dis
and
korrek.
that constable is talking to you. Agreed?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
She's coming between you and the accused, and she appears to be shouting at you, her fingers up. Agreed? Look carefully. She's got her thumb and her pointing finger directed like in a reverse
I
L
see
at
that, Your
you.
Worship.
What was she saying to you?
Your Honor, ek kan nie onthou nie.
Your Worship, I cannot remember.
Now at this stage, what's important is look at the circumference. On the outside on the left, you've got a military policeman in full uniform with a visible jacket on. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
You see a person in a similar uniform on the right-hand side of the screen in front of the vehicle. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
So if you needed any form of backup, you had anybody you wanted there. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. Where's the general?
Bo in die middel.
On top there, the middle.
And she can see what's going on and she's involved. Do you agree with me? She's watching.
Volgens die video, dis korrek.
Pardon me?
Volgens die video,
As per the video, that's correct.
Right, and I've gone a little bit forward. That lady's still pointing at you and she's talking to you, the constable. Do you agree?
dis korrek, Your Honor.
And you're
That is
moving
correct, Your
backwards. If you watch, you move backwards because she's gesturing something to you that's causing you to move backwards, and you're focusing on her. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is
Watch.
correct, Your Worship.
It moves as I go. You're moving back, and she appears to be shouting at you. Do you have any comment?
At no stage
Het sy op my geskree of hard gepraat nie?
did she shout at me
Hard gepraat nie.
or spoke up loudly towards me.
But from her body
At me,
language,
pardon?
you can see she's saying something to you. You focusing on her, and on account of what she's doing or saying, you're moving backwards. Do you agree with me? Let me show you
Iemand
more.
sê ek gesê die Here.
Sorry?
Sy het niks van, sy het nie my gesê ek moet terug beweeg of iets in daai lyn nie.
She did not tell me to move backwards or anything.
But you can see she's looking at you. The other constable is looking at the accused. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
They're not focusing on the same things. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And the military police are moving in closer from the left here. Do you agree?
Ek stem.
There's
I
another
agree.
one that's arrived.
Dis korrek.
Correct.
And she's now pointing her finger up at you again, and you're looking at her.
Dis korrek, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your
And
Worship.
she's pointing it in your face. Look.
As
Agreed.
ek dan die video kyk,
Your Worship, if I watch the video, look at the video,
is nie dat sy vinger wys na my toe nie.
it's not that she is pointing a finger at me.
Dit kan wees dat sy, soos ek praat het, verduidelik iets
It
verduidelik.
can be, as she was explaining, she was doing the gesture as per the witness indication, Your Worship.
What could she be explaining with the reverse L, sir?
Your Worship, at that stage, I cannot say.
But what's clear, she's talking to you and you're focusing on her. Agreed.
That is correct.
And it carries on. Now she's moving her hand forward towards you. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That's
In
correct.
fact, it's touching you.
Your Worship, it could be that she was touching the radio.
No, it's not what I said, sir. Her arm is against your chest. Please have a look.
It can be, Your Worship.
Right, watch, I'm going to go forward. Now she pulls it back. You agree? What's your arm?
That's correct.
That is correct.
You're on your radio and the vehicle is still moving forward. Agreed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
You're now talking on your radio. Agreed?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But she's still
That is
pursuing
correct.
you. She's still walking towards you. Do you agree with me?
What
was-
she was talking to me about, Your Worship, I cannot remember.
That wasn't the question. She's pursuing you. She's following you. She's moving towards you. Do you agree with me? I'll show you. There, you see.
That's correct.
That is correct.
And the other constable is behind her in front of the military police.
That's
But
correct.
she's the closest to you and you're saying something on your radio. Agreed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That
What
is
were you
correct.
saying?
Hy staan in die eerste dat ek volk probeer kontak het.
Your Worship, it can be that at that stage I was trying to contact VOC
To do what?
Om die incident te rapporteer.
to report the incident.
Okay. And she's there, and look, she's got her hand up towards you again, and she's coming after you. You agree with me? She's following you. Watch her foot, watch her hands, watch everything.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And
That is correct, Your Worship.
and the other one's behind her. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And they're both moving towards you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. And now she's clearly holding you. Can you see on your arm?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Why would she have to hold you, sir?
Your Honor, ek dink
Your Worship, I think
dit is om my by te staan
to support me
oor wat gebeur het
over what happened
die afgelope paar minute.
the past minutes or
No.
a few minutes ago.
I want to put you. She's pushing you back, not to have more trouble there.
Op geen stadium nie, Your Honor.
Okay.
At
Well,
no
let's,
stage, Your Worship.
let's carry on. Look how she comes across your body. You see her? You agree? She comes across your body,
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your
and
Worship.
she's holding you.
Your Honor, as sy staan teen by my,
Yes, she's standing close to me.
No, against you. She's standing against you. Do you agree with me? She's leaning on you.
sy staan by my, Your Honor.
She's standing by me where
Her arms are underneath your arm against your stomach. Colonel, have a look. It's a picture. It's easy to see.
Your Honor, as dit so was, dan is dit volgens die picture, is dit so?
Your
Thank you.
Worship, is it, if it's like that, according to that picture, then it's like that.
Colonel, you're 1.5 meters from the screen. You can see it as clearly as I can. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And what you see is not a figment of anybody's imagination. It's the truth. There's the picture. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And look, she's pushing you. Watch the arms between the two of you. Watch. And the general's coming forward as well. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And she's got her hand up towards you as well. Do you agree?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So now we've moved forward. The constable's in front of you, holding you. There can be no doubt about it. The other constable's behind her for some type of support. And the general's coming towards you with her hand up. Agreed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
The accused are far away from you with several people in between. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. And going forward, they're coming towards you. The general's coming towards you. The constable moves towards her. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. And you're at the back of these three ladies, and there are three officers with their backs towards you in front of them. Agreed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Worship.
But this constable that came between you and the three officers is now directly in front of you and directly behind the officer in his step-outs. Do you agree with me?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And the general seems to be talking to her now. Do you agree?
Volgens die video, dit is so.
According to the video, it is like that.
Now her hand's coming up. Can you see? And the other one's moving towards you as well. Can you see?
That's That's correct.
That's correct.
Now I want to put to you, and I'm going to show you, they were holding you back. Do you have any comment?
Op geen stadium nie, Julle.
At no stage, Your Worship.
Let's watch. They're coming towards you, do you agree?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Even the general, she's right there, you agree?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now the second constable's holding you as well. The right hand is against your elbow, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And the other one's directly in front of you, as is the general, behind the 3 other officers, agreed?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Now go forward, they're coming towards you, can you see? All of them.
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Yeah, they're coming. You'll see they come even closer, and they're holding you back now. There can be no doubt about it. Please, Colonel, the picture tells the story.
Julle op geen stadium het my terughou nie.
Your Worship, at no stage did they hold me back.
I put you, as we look at the screen now, there's one constable holding you from your left-hand side. That's the first constable. The other one's in front of you. It's difficult to make, but it appears that her arm is even on your chest, her hand is on your chest, and the general's there as well. All 3 of them holding you. It's there on the picture, sir.
Ja, Julle, dis so op die skerm.
Your Worship, that is how it is on the screen.
You've got no explanation for
Hulle
it.
is daar vir ondersteuning.
They are there for support.
They're not supporting, they're not helping you to fight, they're holding you back. Colonel, have a look.
Julle word ondersteun daar deur die generaal en die 2 konstabels.
Your Worship, I'm being supported today by the 2 constables as well as the general.
Colonel, support means that you fight together, you make a team and you go forward. You standing there and they're pushing you back, that's not supporting. It could be protecting, it could be preventing, but it's not supporting, sir.
Julle, ek verstaan dit as hulle mens ondersteun.
Your Worship, I understand it as they were supporting me.
Let's move forward how they support you. Now you see the one in the constable in the middle is lifting her hand. It's almost like a fist in front of you. Agreed? Can you see it there? I'll show
I
it to you.
see
It's
it.
moving. Can you see? And the other one's still moving in forward, as is the general from both sides.
Ek sien julle.
I see it.
And you're standing there. And you seem to be listening. And the general's now saying something. They all appear to be looking at you and shouting at you. Do you agree with me?
Julle op geen stadium het enigiemand op my geskree nie.
At no stage did anyone shout at me.
I can't put volume to the picture, but if you look at their faces, they're focusing on you, and the constable has her mouth open as if she's saying something, but not calmly or softly. Do you agree with me? You're close. Look at her face. You can see it as clearly as I can.
I see, Your Worship,
Maar
but
op daai stadium is ek ondersteun
at that stage I was being supported
deur die generaal en die 2 konstabels.
by the general and the 2 constables.
And you turned back and I went forward. You see she's lifted her hand. It's now coming up towards you. Please watch. Can you see it? And they're all moving towards you. The other constables come in from the side and she appears, you can't see her, but she appears to be even holding you or pushing you. Can you see? Watch. Yes, she comes forward towards you. Agreed?
Sorry for the interjection. The court will allow the last answer. I've noticed it is tea time, so the court will have an adjournment. But
I can stop here, Your Worship.
yes, we'll
It's
stop
all
there,
on
but I
video.
just need the witness to respond to the
Thank you,
last
Richard.
question.
You can see that all 3 moving towards you. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
I'll hold it right.
Thank you. We will stop the proceedings at this stage. Mr. Venter is still under oath. You are not allowed to discuss your evidence with anyone. Do you understand? There's just one other aspect the court has indicated with regards to the direction of which General Zulu was coming from, which we observed on the screen, and I have said that the court will take notice because of its own observation, but have neglected to say whether it is from the left or the right in this regard. So I confirm what Mr. Houders have put to the witness. It is then from the right side where the white car is on the screen itself. So the court is facing it, and it will be on the right-hand side of the court. Thank you. The court will then have a short adjournment for tea. We will restart the court session at 11:20.
I apologize for the time.
Thank you. Court adjourned.
Jy kan hier so sit asseblief.
Witnesses, man. Oi, you blocking the entrance here with your long legs. You are. You were. Don't say you are not. Liar. Liar.
But can you move?
You're lying, man. What's your interest in this court? Do you have a relative here?
Is it somewhere?
Good. Yes, sir. You see, that's how you move people. Yeah? Disruption. Blind.
Which law school produces such things?
You don't respect court.
You don't respect court, you don't respect witnesses.
You don't respect
What
your
kind
own,
of a lawyer
you don't
is that?
respect your own colleagues. When they speak, you speak on top of their voices because you think you are superior. You think African gives you superiority.
That's not law. That's not conduct of a lawyer.
Must be struck or
You can't even define threat.
Close the door. Those who are outside will go outside.
if you are not here, you must go outside. You see? Hello? You must come out. Please.
Chief interpreter. All rise.
Thank you, Worship. Before we proceed with the continuation of the cross-examination of this witness, may I please get clarity on one aspect?
Yes.
And that's in respect of your court order that you passed regarding the media court sessions.
Yes.
It is not clear from your court order whether the media is allowed to broadcast from inside the courtroom while the witnesses are still under cross-examination. Can I please just have clarity on that aspect so as to the media can understand that what they are allowed to do and what not allowed to do, especially if the witnesses are still under cross-examination or evidence in chief in the courtroom. I see point 1 says the conduct of all media representatives must be consistent with the decorum and dignity of the court. But I just need clarity on that aspect so as tomorrow we do not have any unnecessary confusion between the defense and the state or any of the media houses.
This is with regards to the broadcasting. Is it live? Because I think there is an aspect which dealt with the broadcasting of the proceedings.
Your Worship, when the media reports back during the adjournments. So in the adjournment, what happened in the teen adjournment, there was a live broadcast in the courtroom, basically addressing on what's happening at court, but while the witness is still in court and still under cross-examination. I just need the court to give us clarity on that aspect so we do not have confusion for the defense, the state or the media houses whether they can broadcast while the witness is still in the courtroom. I understand if the courtroom is closed and the session is over and they broadcast from the courtroom, Your Worship, that I understand is fine, but it's just that if the witness is still here standing in the court and they are giving their own opinion on what is happening in court.
During the court session or during the adjournment?
During the adjournment, while we're all sitting in this courtroom.
No, during the adjournment, when the court is not in session, the proceedings is to be held in that regard. It will not be streamed because there is no court session and the court have no control over it because it is in court. Only with regards to pictures may be taken, but no live streaming, and if the court have adjourned in this regard. The court is following what you are indicating to the court. With regards then to the media houses broadcasting during adjournments, it is not allowed in this regard. Only when the court is in session that the media houses will be allowed to broadcast the proceedings. I hope that is
I mean, that
clarity
your court,
to
Your Worship,
the-
I believe that clarifies the position. May I yield now for Mr. Holders to continue
Just
with his
before you do
cross-examination?
so, the decision of the court will be endorsed also on the court order with regards to what the court have indicated now, so that there can't be any confusion with regards to such as well.
I'm indebted to the court, Your Worship. Then may I yield for Mrs. Hart and Mr. Holders to continue with this cross-examination, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Wawa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just, Colonel, to go back, we were there.
Just
and-
one moment, Mr. Otis. The court will grant you now. I still have to swear in the witness before you can do so. Thank you, sir. Can you indicate to the court your full names and surname?
Johannes Venter.
Mr. Venter, you're still under oath. You have not discussed your evidence with anyone.
Dis korrek, julle.
Thank you. Mr. Otis, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Worship. Colonel, we were on the video and I had pointed in the direction of the three female officers, being the general and the two constables in front of you, that you said were supporting you. Do you remember that?
Dis korrek, julle.
I'm going to go forward slowly.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct.
If you can focus there, you can see now that the general is to your right, the one constable is directly in front of you, and the one is to your left. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And they appear to be focusing on you and talking. You can even see the general talking, her mouth's moving. Can you see?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you'll see her hand, the general's right hand is coming up. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And the constable in front of you is also gesturing towards you. Can you see that?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And now you can see clearly that the constable to your left is holding your arm. Can you see that?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you'll see that there's a, from the side of the general, you can't make out which hand, whose hand it is. It's directed at you. I won't say pointed at you, but directed at you. Would you agree with me?
Julle, ek sien haar hand is op.
Sorry.
I
Ek
can see.
sien haar hand is op.
I can see her hand is lifted up. It's up.
You see it clearer now as we go forward. Now it's coming down. You agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And you can see now it was the general's hand. You agree with me?
Dis korrek.
Correct.
Now at the top left, because I don't want to distract you, we're going to move forward now. You see now that the accused and the protector are moving towards the vehicle, and the vehicle is now past the line in the road caused by the gate. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct.
Now you can see that there's a man in a white uniform, and he seems to be indicating something with his right hand as well. He's got a white cap on.
Ek kan dit sien, julle.
I can see that, Your Worship.
So we'll see. I'm going to put you. He's telling them they must get in the car and go in. Do you have any comment?
Julle, ek kan nie daarop kommentaar lewer nie.
Your Worship, I cannot comment on that.
Okay. And you can see the military police are there as well, and they appear to be almost escorting them back to the car. You agree with me?
Volgens die video, dis so, julle.
According to the video, that's how it is, Your Worship.
And we know that after this, the car proceeded in. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
But I'm going back now to focus on you on the side over here. You've got the three ladies in front of you. You can see the first constable, as I said, has got a right hand up against your elbow, and the other two are in front of or across your body. Would you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now we go forward. They're now releasing you. Accused number 2 still saying something. The protector is removing him. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you're at the back there, and it appears that you're talking to your right to the general and the one constable, but one can't be certain, or you looking at them would be the closest.
Dis korrek. Ek gaan al gepraat.
That is correct. The general was talking.
Accused number 2 is still gesturing at the back in front of the vehicle. Agreed?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And the military police are directing him towards the vehicle. You'll see they're preventing him from
That is
coming
correct.
forward. And, they're telling, and now look at the constable in front of you. She's like pointing at you, and she's talking to you. If you watch now, you see it?
Ek kan sien julle.
I can see, Your Worship.
And the one to your left is holding your arm and listening. Do you agree? You'll see it.
Julle ja, hand is in die lug.
Yeah,
I see her hand is up in the air.
I beg your pardon. Her hand is above your arm. You agree with me?
Dis
It's
korrek.
not touching.
That
I
is correct.
apologize. But you see a hand up in front of you
Dis korrek. julle.
from that
That is
constable
correct.
in a stop indication. Do you agree with me?
Volgens die video, dis korrek, julle.
According to the video, that's correct, Your Worship.
And if you watch the hands there, you'll see your hand comes up and down, and you on your left-hand side are holding your belt and your cap. You agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And accused 2 still wanting to come forward, but there's a military policeman there that's preventing him from doing it. You agree?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you'll see that the 3 ladies are around you, but they've moved to your respective sides. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
We're going to go forward. You lift your arm. You come around. Agreed?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
The general comes across you.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
At the top left, the military police officer is telling accused number 2 to go. You can see he's gesturing with his hand to in the direction of the car. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
On the right-hand side, you've put your cap on, and the others are watching in that direction.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
But the constable to your left has got her arm up. It's not clear, so I don't want to mislead you whether she's actually touching you at a distance from you. You can't make it out on the video. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
We move forward. You can see clearly the military policeman's telling him to get into the vehicle. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And the general's there now in front of you, and you're moving back, not forwards. Agreed.
Dis korrek, julle.
In fact, you
That is
move
correct.
behind her. You'll see it now. Agreed.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
At this stage, you can see it's almost, whether it's intentional or not, the 3 ladies have made like a human barrier in front of you, and they're facing accused number 2. Do you agree with me?
Volgens die video, dis korrek, julle.
According to the video, it's correct, Your Worship.
Accused number 2 is being escorted to the vehicle. The ladies in front of you, the general's now in the middle. You can see her rank on the top of her cap. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And number 2 is leaving. You're standing there, and the 3 are in front of you. You're lifting your arm up. Agreed? You appear to be looking at your watch.
Dis korrek, julle.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And you can see the military policeman is actually escorting, if not carrying almost, or cajoling or moving accused number 2 to the passenger side of the vehicle. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is
So
correct,
they're
Your
going
Worship.
around. You now take your radio. You're smiling.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Maar julle kan net sê daai die smile,
I can just say that smile,
soos ek gister genoem het,
as I mentioned yesterday,
dit is van die skok van wat plaasgevind het.
it's from the shock over what had happened.
Colonel, let me be blunt with you. You don't appear shocked at all. In fact, it would seem that the 3 ladies restrained you. Not that you were running away or cowering. Do you have any comment?
Kan jy net herhaal asseblief?
You don't appear to be shocked at all. In fact, it would seem that the three ladies restrained you. You don't seem to be scared, cowering or running away.
Here, daai stadium was ek geskok geweest oor die voorval wat plaasgevind het.
Your Worship, at that stage, I was shocked over the incident that had happened.
A picture tells a story of 1,000 words, and you can see there that Dr. Ndlozi is being escorted across the front of the vehicle, as I said, now by 2 military police officers. And there's a man in the white uniform that's on the top left corner. Do you agree with me?
Stem saam?
I agree.
Now we go forward. You've got the radio in your hand. You're looking there, and you could be talking on the radio, so one can't make it out for certain. Do you agree with me?
Ek kan nie sê of ek op die radio gepraat het nie.
I was not talking over the radio.
And the military police are still escorting accused number 2. Other military police are walking towards the vehicle, and the general and the constables have left your immediate vicinity. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Do you move back to your belt with your left hand, around to the back? You're looking down. And I want to see if you can make it out moving now. You're moving across. The man in the white uniform is gesturing. And I want to put it to them to go in now. Do you have any comment?
Ek kan nie op kommentaar lewer in julle.
I cannot comment, Your Worship.
And it seems as though the situation's diffused. You're now at the back of the people walking towards the rear of the vehicle. Do you agree?
Dis korrek, Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Nobody's what I call restraining, what you call supporting you. Do you agree with me? There's nobody holding on to you or
Dis
doing
korrek,
anything.
Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Right. I'm going to move a bit faster now. The one constable's behind you. They're indicating something. And you'll see the man with the white uniform is gesturing with his right arm. And I'm telling you that he's telling them to go in. Do you have any comment?
Ek kan nie sê wat hy gesê het nie, Here.
I cannot say what he was saying.
You're right there. You're maybe 1.5 meters or 2 meters from him. And you can see his hands moving, and he appears to be talking. It's difficult to see at the distance.
Ek het niks gehoor wat hy met hom gepraat het nie, Here.
I didn't hear nothing of what he was talking to him about.
But your back is now to the camera. You're standing there confident, no indication of any wounds, injury, or being hurt in any way. Do you agree with me?
Here, soos ek gister getuig het,
Your Worship, as I testified yesterday,
as ons kyk, ek was al 'n paar ure aan diens gewees sedert 6:30 die oggend.
I was on duty for a couple of hours from
5:30.
You had
From
said-
5:30
Colonel,
in
you
the
had
morning.
said 6:30 for the record. Let the record.
6:30, ja.
You did say 6:30. You've corrected yourself before the translation to 5:30. Is that correct?
Dis korrek.
But you, on your statement, said 5 o'clock.
Uh,
So we can change it 3 times if you like.
Net seker maak by die verklaring die tyd wat ons parade gestaan het.
I just want to make sure about the time that was stated in my statement.
En soos ek gekyk het in die hof gister,
As I testified yesterday before court,
ek was heel dag op my voete
I was the whole day standing on my feet.
en my spiere was staan en die spiere is warm.
At that stage, my muscles were warm or hot at that stage.
But the objective picture, Colonel, is you have a vehicle in an entrance. You have to the right of the vehicle, you can count from the red beret up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Uniformed, at least 12 uniformed people, and there are still some to the left as well. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you are amongst those 12, but at this stage, nobody's preventing that vehicle from going forward or taking any action to stop it. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
In fact, as I've told you, and you can't contradict it, even if you say you didn't hear anything, they're being told to go inside.
Julle,
Your Worship,
nee ek of Generaal Zulu het dan toestemming gee om te gaan.
Not myself or General Zulu gave them permission to enter.
Well, let's reverse that around. Neither you nor General Zulu took any step to stop them from going inside. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now, if there was a security threat and they didn't have authorization or they weren't allowed to be there, can you explain why nobody took any action?
Julle, soos ek gister getuig het,
As I testified yesterday, Your Worship,
het generaal Zulu vanaf
the General Zulu from there onwards
na die bok gegaan
went to VOC.
en ek glo sy die ding bespreek met generaal Sam Sitlabane.
I believe she discussed this matter with General Sam Sitlabane.
That doesn't change anything. Neither of you prevented that vehicle from going inside. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So here, we'll go forward and watch. We're at 15:50:07, vehicle goes in. You're walking very normally, do you agree with me? Yeah, the constables are walking around, everybody's very calm, as are you. Agreed?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
You're walking across the screen. These people are smiling, you can see it clearly in the uniform. And you're walking back. Agreed? And you go to business as usual. For completion's sake, I'm going to try and put it on normal speed, Your Worship, so that we can finish it. There it is, you'll see. We're on 15:50. Here comes the hearse. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
That's the hearse. It's got the military number plate. Similarly, there's no outside identificatory things, and it doesn't have the colors of the funeral parlor. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Goes in. Let's see what happens now. Now, what I want to put to you is, you can see the hearse is there. So it's not as if the whole convoy arrived and everybody was inside, and now all of a sudden comes a straggling vehicle from nowhere. If we look at the time is very important. It's 15:50. We started watching the cars coming in at I'll give you 15:45. We've moved the whole 5 minutes from the first car. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
So this whole incident, where I've gone even beyond, I started long before with the presidential cavalcade. We're now at the stage where you still see the hearse, it hasn't gone in yet. Has lasted 5 entire minutes. Do you agree with me?
Volgens die video, dis korrek.
According to the video, that's correct.
Even whether you want to say according to the video, it's correct. You dispute the time on the video.
Julle, soos ek getuig het,
Your Worship, as I testified,
soos die konvooi ingekom het,
as the convoy was coming in,
tot in die laaste voertuig, die van meneer Malema,
up until the last vehicle, that of Mr. Malema,
nadat meneer Malema inbeweeg het,
after Mr. Malema's vehicle has driven in,
dis toe die lijkswagen ingekom het.
that is when the hearse entered.
Don't defend your version. Answer the question, please. You've got your own mission here. You've come here to sing off your own psalm sheet. I asked you a question. Please answer it. No, if you why are you repeating your version rather than addressing the question? Question is simple. Do you dispute the time of the video, sir?
Julle, ja, ek kan nie sê, ek het nie die tyd op nie, ek het nie tyd opgehou nie.
Your Worship, yes, I cannot say I was not paying attention to the time. I was not looking at the time.
Colonel, let's pause there for a moment. You had this video in your possession. Do you agree with me?
Nie die spesifieke hier in nie.
Not this specific video, no.
You had a video of the footage from this camera in your possession. Do you agree with me?
Dis That's correct.
That
Was
is
it-
correct.
Was it in any way different to what we've seen here?
Neither.
No, Your Worship.
Did it have the time on it and the dates as we see here?
That's correct.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Then you have to, with respect, accept that these times are accurate. Do you agree with me?
Eerder, ja, ek het nie na die tyd gekyk nie.
Your Worship, yes, I did not look at the time.
That's not the question, and you know it. So let's start again. We've agreed you had the same video in your possession. Do you agree so far?
That's correct.
That is correct.
The video you had the times.
Well, tijdens op die video, dat is
Yes.
correct.
You've watched
Sorry?
it. The time on the videos was correct.
Thank you.
Sorry, I jumped ahead of you. I apologize.
Thank you.
Right, so you've seen the video, you've watched the times. You've never seen any reason to dispute the times. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That is correct.
So rather than repeating your entire version for another time, would you agree that the times there are accurate as per the video?
Ek wil so sê, dis korrek wat jy Johan.
I will say so.
So
It's correct, Your Worship.
even if this video wasn't set, because there might be a dispute as to that it's exactly 15:50 by standard time, but the time that it runs from 15:45 to 15:50 is an entire 5 minutes. Do you agree with me?
Kan wees hier dan.
Can be, Your Worship.
How can it not be?
Hier want ek het nie tyd gehou elke minuut, elke sekonde nie.
Your Worship, I was not keeping time at every hour, every minute, every second.
Colonel, very simply put, you've watched this video several times. You know that it lasts 5 minutes. Do you agree with me?
Die hele video, nee?
Not the whole video.
The
From
whole video?
15:45 to 15:50, watching the video takes 5 minutes. Do you agree?
Ek het die video gekyk hier dan
I watched the video, Your Worship.
en soos die tyd, ek kan nie met sekerheid sê dit is 5 minute, 6 of 7 minute.
Your Worship, and I cannot say with certainty it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes, or 7 minutes.
The court can take judicial cognizance of it. I'm going to leave it at that. Your obstructiveness is apparent, but let's proceed. Now, I'm going to let it run in normal time so you can see. There you are on your radio. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Not touching anything that saw and no sign of any visible injury. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
You're walking around. Nobody's hindering you or anything.
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And most significant, you're not taking any steps to go and stop this car that's come through without authorization or anything. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
There's the hearse coming back. So the procession is about to begin but hasn't begun. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So we at a funeral, time is of the essence and emotions have to be high. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Are you talking to people? You can see them. They're all joking. They're smiling. You can see it. There's your general talking to you. Agreed.
Sien jy dit?
I see that. I see it, Your Worship.
She's not fighting or panicking that an unauthorized vehicle's come in. She's talking to the pallbearers. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is
Yeah.
correct, Your Worship.
Now what's on the left? Some dignitaries are walking in as you explained.
Dis korrek.
That is
Umbrellas are
correct.
coming out as I told you.
Dis korrek.
Correct.
Now, there wouldn't be a need for umbrellas unless it was drizzling or raining, however soft it might be. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So what I'm putting to you is that the buses that you referred to that were in the convoy have now arrived and the people are coming in from those buses. Do you have any comment?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
There comes it's like a trolley for the casket or for the coffin. Do you agree
Dis
with me?
korrek.
That is correct, Your Worship.
So the proceedings are about to begin. You're there, you're watching it on the right. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
On site, there were ambulances. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
You never sought any.
Correct.
You never sought any medical attention. Do you agree?
Nee.
No.
Now you see the dignitaries coming in. They're moving ahead, smartly dressed, and umbrellas are being offered to them on the right. Can you see that?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct.
And
Your Worship.
escorts. Here come more officers in smart uniforms that are talking to you. You're talking, you're smiling, you're in good form, do you agree with me?
Edela,
Your
soos ek
Worship.
gister,
As I said yesterday,
ek het voortgegaan met my dienste.
I wanted to continue with my duties.
Ek het voortgegaan met my dienste.
I continued, thank you, with my duties.
But you're not showing any sign of in need of any type of therapy right there, do you agree
That's
with me?
correct, Edela.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you're smiling.
Edela, soos ek gister gesê het,
As I said yesterday, Your Worship,
daai smile is nie oor opgewondenheid of blydskap nie.
that smile, it's not because I was jovial or happy.
Dit is my manier van my te skop.
That's my manner, the way I am when I'm in shock.
And there's your general at the top talking to the dignitaries or the escorts, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And there's no clear manifestation of any injury whatsoever, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Edela.
That is correct, Your Worship.
That's great. Similarly, you're not complaining to anybody there, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
You're standing and observing, quite normal.
Dis korrek, Edela.
That is correct.
Yes, so it runs for 3 minutes. I'm going to let it finish, if you don't mind, just for completion. There's a golf trolley, a golf cart that you referred to, is that correct?
Dis korrek, Edela.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Which is obviously used to carry people in ahead of the ceremony.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Now you're standing here, who's watching the gate, if you don't mind me asking?
Edela, waar ek staan is by die hek.
Your Worship, where I am standing, it's by the gate.
The pallbearers are lining up and they're waiting now to start the procession. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
This is longer than the one that I don't believe there's anything more that's significant, Your Worship.
I'm in your hands, Mr. Odesh. You
So
cross-examine.
for the record, I'm going to switch it off at 15:58.
15:58.
Unless there's anything that you want to point out, Colonel. What I want to put you, Colonel, is perhaps you can just reconstitute.
You can go back to the space, huh?
Now, what I want to put you, sir, is that that's still running. That if you watched the videos I showed you, and I'm instructed that I don't want to waste more court time, that one can clearly see the permit on the front of the vehicle at 1549.34. But I'm not going to go back because it's very difficult to find it. What we do have, and it's from the docket, it was given to us, Your Worship, it's A7. I don't believe it's in dispute. Page 8. So I'm going to hand you A7, page 8, the color copy that I have. And I want you to look at it, Colonel, and then hand it up to His Worship. At the bottom there, this is another camera. You'll see Memorial Road. You'll see yourself in the picture right next to the vehicle with something that appears to be quite prominent as the permit on the dashboard. Please have a look. The bottom picture, sir. I don't did know. You see it, sir?
Ek sien dit hier.
I see it, Your Worship.
Any possible explanation?
Julle het gesê het
Your Worship, as I had stated,
ek het nie 'n sigbare permit gesien nie.
I did not see a visible permit.
Colonel, that might have been on the day, but how many times have you watched this video?
Kan jy dit herhaal asseblief?
Can you repeat,
That
please?
might have been on the day, but how many times have you watched this video?
Die video van die voertuig buitekant. Ek
The
het
video of the vehicles outside,
ek het glad nie footage van dit nie.
I do not have footage of that at all.
And this specific video that we watched,
Dis 'n kamera wat binne-in
That is the camera that is in the inside,
wat aan die binnekant wys.
that is showing the inside.
I know exactly which one it is. How many times have you watched it, Colonel?
Ek het die video 'n paar keer gesien.
I've seen it a number of times.
And I'm telling you that the permit is visible there. There was a permit. You were adamant yesterday that there was no permit. Why have you changed your view, sir?
Agbare, dit kan wees nadat ek met hulle gepraat het,
Your Worship, it can be after I had spoken to them
dat hulle 'n permit in die venster gesit het.
that they placed or put the permit there, the window.
Colonel, you in the photo with the permit.
Agbare, ja, ek staan met my rug na die voertuig toe.
Your Worship, yes, I was standing with my back towards the vehicle.
Yesterday you were adamant, you accepted the challenge that there was no permit.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And I said to you, do you accept the challenge that I'm going to say that you're a liar if I can prove there was a permit? You remember?
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
What's the verdict, sir?
Julle, ek sien also 'n wit papier in die venster.
Your Worship, I see there's a white paper there by the window, at the window.
Meaning?
Dit kan 'n permit wees, dit kan nie 'n permit wees nie.
It can be a permit, it cannot be a permit.
So you didn't even bother to look. Let's be honest for once. You didn't bother to look.
Agbare, so gesê die voertuig het opgekom.
Your Worship, as I said, the vehicle was driving approaching.
Ek het nie die permit gesien nie.
I did not see the permit.
Ek het aan die bestuurder se kant toe geloop.
I walked to the driver's side.
Bestuurder het my gegroet.
The driver greeted me.
Ek het gesê meneer Malema is in die voertuig.
He told me that Mr. Malema is inside the vehicle.
En wat ek gister gesê het ook is dat meneer Malema, Dr. Ndlozi kan instap.
And as I said even yesterday, I said that Mr. Malema and Dr. Ndlozi can walk in.
Die voertuig kan nie inkom nie.
The vehicle cannot enter.
What was my question? You know, you've repeated your same version so many times. What was my question? What did I say to you when you started this address now?
Sien ek die permit of nie?
Do
No.
I see the permit or not?
Incorrect. Do you want to have another chance?
Kan jy herhaal asseblief?
Can you
Yes.
repeat?
Can my colleague just repeat the question?
With pleasure.
Asking the witness, Your Worship, to repeat it, please.
No ruling by the court is required. Mr. Otis have agreed to repeat the question. Thank you, Mr. Otis.
I said to you, you never even bothered to look for the permit.
Toelaatbare,
Your Worship,
as die voertuie inkom,
when the vehicles enter,
dan ons kyk na die permitte.
then we look at the permits.
If you looked for it, you would have seen it, sir. There it is in the photo on your own version. Instead, you've told us you turned your back, you weren't looking, you didn't look at that, you've given every other excuse. Will you please admit that you didn't bother to look for the permit?
Toelaatbare, soos ek gesê het,
Your Worship, as I had said,
my rug is na die voertuig toe
my back is towards the vehicle,
en dit kan wees dat hulle die permit in die venster gesit het.
and it can be that they placed the permit at the window.
Then you would have seen it if you're looking for it, sir.
Toelaatbare, toe die voertuig daar gekom het, was dit nie sigbaar nie.
When, Your Worship, when the vehicle arrived there, it was not visible.
Do you realize how many contradictions you've now made? You went to a car to look for a permit, you turned your back to the car, you didn't look for the permit. The car is there, we've seen it. This is before it even comes through the gate. Do you agree with me?
Toelaatbare,
Your Worship,
dit kan wees
it can be
What's the time on that photograph, Colonel?
1547.
15?
1547.
1547. We watched now. The car was then visible for minutes. With the permit, no, or is it your version that they put it there, took it back, put it there, took it back? Which one is it, sir?
Toelaatbare, dit kan wees dat hulle die permit het was op die voertuig nie, hulle het hom opgesit.
Your Worship, it can be that the permit was not on the vehicle, that they put it there.
You know what the flaw to your reasoning is, so you've forgotten the video. On your own version, you're standing in front of the car. We've seen it, we saw you.
Dis korrek
So
julle.
how could it be
That is
possible
correct.
they put it there and you never saw it?
Julle daai staan is reg na hulle toe gewees.
Your Worship, my back was towards them.
In the photograph, but not on the video, sir.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct.
So you were facing the car, you saw the front of the car.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Then you would have seen the permit.
Hulle kon dit afgehaal het julle.
They could have removed it. Again, Your Worship.
Can they think of any possible motive to put it there for the photograph that they wouldn't know it's being taken, but when they're fighting to get in, they remove it?
Toelaatbare, dit is heel moontlik.
Your Worship, it is highly possible.
It's not possible. It's ridiculous, Colonel. Someone
Toelaatbare,
wants to go in premised on a permit, and you're saying they want to hide the permit away from you. But you're not sure. This is all speculation on your part. But there's a photograph with your body 1 meter maximum away from this permit, and you can't say whether it was there or not because you turned your back.
dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
That's your version.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Now, in this court case, you aligned yourself with every forum. Is that correct?
Dis korrek.
That is
Right.
correct.
What do you understand is the vision of every forum?
Kan jy verduidelik asseblief?
Can you explain, please?
What do you understand is the vision of every forum?
Wat is dit?
Vision.
Op die forum.
Afriforum.
Yeah.
Julle ja, ek het nie 'n visie by my nie. Ek weet nie dit is om ons te ondersteun.
Your Worship, I do not have the vision with me. It's to support us.
Dis ook dit verstaan.
That is how I understand it.
Ondersteuning vir ons.
Supporting us, or supporting for us or towards us,
Who's the us or ons that you refer to?
Om my te support.
to support myself.
So every forum is an institution that was designed to protect you.
Nie net myself nie, maar
Not
almal
all-
al die lede wat aan hom behoort.
Not only myself, but all the members that belong to it.
And what are their members?
Ek kan nie daarop antwoord nie, julle.
I cannot answer on that.
Let me assist you from their website, and I've shown this to my learned friend. I can give you a copy if you like. It says that AfriForum is a non-governmental organization registered as a non-profit company with the aim of protecting the rights of minorities. Would you agree with that?
Ek hoor.
I hear.
While the organization functions on the internationally recognized principle of the protection of minorities, AfriForum specifically focuses on the rights of Afrikaners as a community living on the southern tip of the continent.
Ek hoor.
I hear.
Do you agree?
Volgens my,
According to myself,
AfriForum
AfriForum
verteenwoordig alle rasse en geslagte.
represents all the races and all the male or female.
All the genders.
Thank you.
But what's the fundamental core of it? What's the requirement? What's their objective?
Ek kan nie op antwoord nie, julle.
I cannot answer on that, Your Worship.
It says membership is not exclusive, however, and any person may join who can associate themselves with the contents of the Civil Rights Manifesto of the organization. Do you understand that?
Ek wil dit sê.
I hear what you were saying.
And it says the vision is as follows: that Afrikaners who know no other home can continue living meaningfully as Afrikaners and in peaceful coexistence with other communities and permanently free, safe and prosperous at the southern tip of Africa.
Ek hoor.
Do you agree
I
with that?
hear.
Would you like a copy?
Asseblief.
Please.
Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. Can I proceed?
Please the court, Your Worship. I did not object earlier. I want to see where my colleague is going with this, Your Worship. Your Worship, I would really want to ask the relevance of all this information, Your Worship, as with regard to AfriForum. The charge before court, Your Worship, is assault, Your Worship, on the complainant, Your Worship. AfriForum is not in the charge sheet, Your Worship. Their vision and their mission has nothing to do with the complainant, Your Worship. Please the court.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Julius.
Thank you, Worship. Your Worship, I know AfriForum is not mentioned in the charge sheet, but it was mentioned in the plea explanation. I made it very clear at that stage that and the witness was also questioned on this, that when we attempted to resolve this matter, we were faced, the NPA refused to get involved. We had to deal with AfriForum. They might not want to be involved. They hold a watching brief, as we've said, and they are directly involved. And the witnesses confirmed that they act for him in a supportive role. So, with respect, it's directly relevant. I only have one more paragraph to read from this, and I had shown it to my learned friend before. I submit with respect that it is relevant, Your Worship.
To what extent is it relevant?
The motive behind the charges, Your Worship, I say that this is the specific motive behind the charge, without any hesitation.
Thank you, Advocate Julius. The court has been addressed in terms of the plea explanation with regards to such, and it does then form part of the defense, and if so required, for the version of the accused, which will be placed before court with regards to such. The court therefore find it relevant in this instance, so therefore the court is allowing the line of cross-examination with regards to such. You may proceed.
Thank you, Worship. Worship, I have a copy for the court as well.
The court has not
It's not
received.
my intention to hand it in, it's easier to follow, Your Worship, rather than having to write every
The
word
court
down.
have also not received a copy of the previous photograph which was used.
I
Is
beg your
that not
pardon,
going
Mr.
to be
Witness, yes.
submitted, or is that the only copy of
It's
the
my only
evidence?
colour copy, Your Worship, but I will hand it to Your Worship.
With regards to
It's the
this,
bottom picture.
is it going to be part of the evidence, or is it just for purposes of...
Your Worship, if that photo is going to be handed up, Your Worship, I have no objection. However, I will then ask the complete set to be handed up, Your Worship. I'm not sure if my colleague is done with regards to the photos, my questioning, but I would ask that everything then be handed in, Your Worship, not only that picture that the court currently has in its hand.
So,
Worship, I support it. I have no objection.
so there's no objection
I
from
believe
the
an
parties?
album should be... The problem with the album, Your Worship, and they'll confirm it, is for some unknown reason all the copies that were distributed are missing a page. We received the album from the state. We don't dispute the photographs, but there's a page missing on everybody's version. I'm not pointing fingers. There's nothing sinister. It's just that it's incomplete. I'll go even so far, Your Worship, as to say they can hand the whole album to Your Worship, and the witness can come, or we can do it by agreement. It's always admissible by agreement. But there is a page missing, Your Worship, and we've been looking for it, and they've been assisting us. There's no dispute between us in this regard, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Otis. The court will then just direct before the court will receive, then make a ruling with regards to the said photo album. I want the state and the defense to just verify which pictures is to be submitted to the court for confirmation, so that no picture is being submitted without the knowledge of the other party in this regard. So just confirm.
I'm not objecting. I mean, we're trying to.
Yes, that is what the court have directed. Just can I just also give this picture back as well, so that yes.
This picture was on page 8. Your Worship, we're in agreement on the photo album. I was incorrect. There were 2 pages missing, Your Worship. But should we find them, or if the witness testifies, we'll hand them to Your Worship. They're not in dispute, Your Worship. So it was A7 in the docket. It's a forensic analysis, CCTV, cybercrime, and deep web investigations compiled by one of the future witnesses, Detective Warrant Officer Jörg Smit. On this case, it has a cover, and then it goes to page 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. So there are 2 pages missing, and the photograph that we're referring to, Your Worship, is the bottom photograph on what's referred to as A7/8. I believe my learned friend has an album to hand to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I hand up, Your Worship?
Yes, you may.
Before I am in agreement, Your Worship, with regards to pages 2 and page 7, Your Worship. This is what we have in the docket, Your Worship. At the moment, there's no other photo album that we do have, Your Worship, but if it comes up, we will indeed inform my learned colleague, Your Worship. Please support.
Just one moment, okay? The court have received the photo album in this regard, and will mark it as follows. It will be Exhibit 4, which consists out of 7 pages in this regard. So it is marked as Exhibit 4, and the court have received the said exhibit by consent of the parties and ruled that it is admissible as evidence before the court. Thank you, Mr. Otis. You may proceed.
Please report, Your Worship.
So I've given you the document now, Colonel. You'll see the first paragraph I've read to you. And then the vision says here that, and this is what I was reading to you now, that Afrikaners who know no other home can continue living meaningfully as Afrikaners and in peaceful coexistence with other communities and permanently free, safe and prosperous at the southern tip of Africa. You see that there?
Ek sien dit hier, hulle.
I see it, Your Worship.
Do you accept that as their vision? Show in the document.
Dis op die dokument hier, julle, so dit is hier, ja.
Your Worship, it's on the document, so it's here, yes.
And the final paragraph that I want to refer you to is the mission, and you'll see that this is where it becomes somewhat more relevant. It says, AfriForum as a trustworthy Afrikaner interest organization and civil rights watchdog, which forms part of the solidarity movement, works to ensure that the basic prerequisites for the continued existence of Afrikaners are met by working outside the workplace on international, national and local level to manage the impact of and influence the current political realities that face Afrikaners while working simultaneously to establish sustainable structures through which Afrikaners are able to ensure their own future independently. You see that?
Ek sien dit hier, hulle.
I see it, Your Worship.
So you see that AfriForum is part of the solidarity movement that you referred to. Is that correct?
Kan jy net verduidelik?
Can you please explain?
I'll explain it, so it's easier. You testified that you came through to AfriForum by being a member of Solidarity. Is that correct?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And here they say, they confirm that, they say, AfriForum as a trustworthy Afrikaner interest organization and civil rights watchdog forms part of the Solidarity movement. You agree with that?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And it's there to protect the interests of people who speak Afrikaans. Do you agree with me?
Nee.
No.
Nee, hulle.
No, Your Worship.
Why do you say no?
Want AfriForum,
Because AfriForum,
solidariteit,
Solidarity,
verteenwoordig alle
represents
ras, geslag,
all races and gender.
ongeag die taal.
Sorry?
Ongeag die taal, language.
Irrespective of the language.
That's not what this document says.
Dis hoe ek dit verstaan, julle.
That is how I understand it, Your Worship.
And it's a matter of fact, despite having deposed to 3 English statements, you insisted on speaking Afrikaans in court. Is that correct?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct.
And you will admit that your home language, which is your preferred language, is Afrikaans. Is that correct?
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And what I
Your
want,
Worship, sorry, Your Worship. I'm going to ask, what is the relevance of this complainant speaking Afrikaans?
Thank you. Sauders?
Your Worship, it answers the question as to how you become a member of AfriForum. That's what they say here.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, stay.
No, Your Worship. If this is the language that he's speaking and he was raised in, Your Worship, that is his home language, Afrikaans. Afrikaans is also one of the official languages in this country. So Afrikaans, Your Worship, is his language.
Thank
In
you.
support, Your Worship.
Sauders, last response.
Your Worship, that doesn't answer the question. To become a member of AfriForum, you have to be Afrikaans. It says in the document, it specifically focuses on the right of Afrikaners. It doesn't refer to race, religion, or gender, as has been pointed out. The prerequisite, and the only prerequisite, is that you speak the language of Afrikaans. That's exactly what I'm saying, what the witness is saying, and I don't understand what the objection is.
With regards to his language, Mr. Houders, whether the accused is English, Afrikaans, or any other language speaking, it is his constitutional right to do so, and the court do not find that to be relevant to this charge in this regard. This line of questioning with regards to the language of the accused is disallowed. You may proceed.
Thank you.
Please support, Your Worship.
What I want to put to you, sir, is that it was AfriForum that negotiated any form of Ubuntu or settlement of this matter. We told that to you and you accepted that yesterday. Do you agree?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
And it was AfriForum that made it clear that they don't want in any way to settle this matter on your behalf. Do you accept that?
Dis onwaar.
That is not true. That's untrue.
Why is it
that
not
correct,
true?
Meneer?
Dit is my keuse gewees.
It was my decision.
But you utilized their services to convey that message. Do you agree?
Kan jy net verduidelik?
Yeah,
Ek insit.
I can explain it. Sorry, you asked for I'll cut you.
Can you just please explain it?
With pleasure. On your version, You were a complainant, you then employed a firm of attorneys. Is that correct?
Ek is na Solidariteit toe.
I went to the Solidarity.
Hulle het my verwys na Hutter and Spies.
They referred me to Hutter and Spies.
Hutter and Spies het my verwys na AfriForum.
Hutter and Spies referred me to AfriForum.
And in the negotiations to resolve this matter, you never met with the defense. Do you agree with me?
Glad nie.
Not at all.
Hutter and Spies never met with the defense. Do you agree with me?
Nie waarvan ek weet nie.
Not as to what I know, or not according to my knowledge.
The only organization that did so was AfriForum. Do you agree with me?
Volgens my kennis is dit korrek.
According to my knowledge, that's correct.
That's the whole point that I'm making. And you knew at the time that the people, or you established in the process that the people in the vehicle were from the EFF, is that correct?
Op daai stadium glad nie.
At that stage, not at all.
When you laid the complaint, you knew that that was the EFF vehicle, do you agree?
Na die voorval, dis korrek, ja.
After the incident, it's correct, yes.
When you laid the charge, when you wrote your first statement, you knew that that was a vehicle that was carrying the leader of the EFF and other people from the EFF, do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
You saw the umbrella that you've watched on the video. You saw EFF, it was prominent. Do you agree with me?
Julle op daai stadium
Your Worship, at that stage,
met die voorval
during the incident,
het ek nie opgelet na die sambreel nie. Ek weet dit is 'n rooi sambreel.
I did not pay attention to the umbrella. I just noticed it's a red umbrella.
Dis korrek.
Before the funeral occurred, you knew who Julius Malema was. Do you agree with me?
Kan jy herhaal asseblief?
Repeat, please.
Before the funeral, you knew who Julius Malema was.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct.
And if we watch the video, we can see that at best for you, there was some misunderstanding as to who could come through the gate or not. Do you agree with me?
Ek stem nie saam met julle.
I do not agree, Your Worship.
But it's not the most serious case you've ever seen in your life. Do you agree with me?
Wat jy as jy verwys na 'n voorval?
If you refer to which incident?
The video that we watched.
Verwys jy na die aanranding?
Are you referring to the assault?
Yes.
Ja, dit is ek het erger al gesien, dis korrek, ja.
I have seen worse. It's correct, yes.
And I showed you that as we see the video, it seems as though the three ladies are restraining you.
Op geen stadium nie.
At no stage, Your Worship.
The video speaks for itself, sir. You saw them in front of you, saw them pointing at you.
Dis korrek, julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Maar dit kan nie weerhou nie.
But they were not restraining me.
Your version of events started off with that the people weren't allowed into the ceremony. It developed to the vehicle wasn't allowed into the ceremony because it wasn't accredited. It then developed to even if it was accredited, I wouldn't have let it in. It then went to it wasn't part of the convoy. Then it seems to have been part of the convoy, but I wasn't certain. It's moved along. Do you agree with me?
Julle van die begin af gesê die voertuig was nie deel
Your Worship, I said from the beginning that the vehicle was not part
van die konvoi nie.
of the convoy.
But that doesn't mean that it can't come in, sir. You had all different protocols that applied that day.
Julle soos ek gesê het,
Your Worship, as I had said,
die voertuig is gestop.
the vehicle was stopped.
Meneer Malema,
Mr. Malema,
Dr. Ndlozi
Dr. Ndlozi
was nie gestop nie.
were not stopped.
But all four people in the vehicle had accreditation to enter. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And you can't tell the court today whether that vehicle had been accredited or not. And I've told you, and I believe shown you that it was.
Julle soos ek gesê het, ek het nie die akkreditasie gesien nie.
Your Worship, as I said, I did not see the accreditation.
But except for the moment, you've got four accredited people and an accredited vehicle. Can you not accept that they believe that they're entitled to enter?
Julle,
Your Worship,
die persone in die voertuig
the people or occupants inside the vehicle
kan die perseel betree het
could have entered or they were allowed to enter the premises.
Dit was die voertuig
It was the vehicle
wat nie toegelaat is nie.
that was not permitted.
Colonel, you said once you've watched the video, you'll tell us who was in the cars. Can you tell us, please?
Wie almal in die voertuig was.
Yeah, you said once you've watched the whole video, you'll be in a position to tell us.
Nie wie almal in die voertuig was nie.
Not all of those people that were in the vehicles.
Not one of them, sir.
Ek kan dit sê van die voertuie van vooraf, die
I can say about the vehicles, the ones that were the front,
die presidentsvoertuig
the president's vehicle
en die deputy president.
and the deputy
I
president.
could have done that also and I didn't work there, sir.
Kan jy herhaal asseblief?
Repeat, please.
I could have done that also and I didn't work there, sir. That's there. You don't have to have special insight to know that. Talking about all the other vehicles that I showed you. I didn't show you the presidential one and ask you. I showed you the ND number plates. I showed you the VWs. I showed you all those cars. You said, let me watch the whole video and I'll tell you who was in which vehicle.
Ek het nie gesê ek sal kan sê
Your Worship, I did not say I will be able to say
wie is in die voertuie nie.
who is in the vehicles.
So you can't. Do you agree with me?
Die privaat voertuie kan ek nie sê nie.
The private vehicles I cannot say.
So there were private vehicles. You don't know who was in them. You let them through the gate. Along comes a vehicle. You know who Mr. Malema is. And you decided you're not letting this car in. Whether it had accreditation or they had accreditation, that car remains out. Do you agree with me?
Die laagbare die privaat voertuie
Your Worship, the private vehicles
is gehuurde motors.
are rented vehicles.
Ek was nie deel van daai komitee nie.
I was not part of that committee.
Meneer Malema, soos ek sê, was nie deel van daai konvooi nie.
And as I said, Mr. Malema was not part of that convoy.
You know we disagree on that. I've told you that he was, and I've told you that his vehicle was accredited. So I've asked you, I know you have a difficulty with this, can you accept for the moment that his vehicle was accredited? Would you then, and it was part of the convoy, if that was the case, do you accept that it was entitled to drive in?
Die laagbare, soos ek gesê het, ek het nie 'n sigbare permit gesien nie.
Your Worship, as I had said, I did not see visible permit.
En dit gaan nie oor die insittendes nie.
It is not about the occupants.
Dit is die voertuig wat nie toegelaat is nie.
It was the vehicle that was not allowed.
If the vehicle had been accredited and part of the convoy, would it be allowed?
Die edele,
Your Worship,
as die voertuig deel was van die konvooi
if the vehicle was part of the convoy,
en soos suster genoem is,
as mentioned yesterday,
meneer Malema is soos 'n seun
Mr. Malema is like a son
vir mevrou Winnie Mandela
for to Mrs. Winnie Mandela,
en hy was saam met die familie in die konvooi.
and he was with the family in the convoy.
Dan was daar geen probleem gewees nie.
There would not have been any problem.
Yeah, I do this so many times. I'm not going to because it's upsetting. I'm going to repeat my question to you and let's see how you answer it this time. It's the same question. If the vehicle that Mr. Malema was in had accreditation as part of the convoy, would you have allowed it in?
Julle, as die voertuig deel van die konvooi was,
Your Worship, if the vehicle was part of the convoy,
sou hy toegelaat gewees het.
he would have been allowed access or to enter.
And I'll put to you, and I'm going to repeat it, that it was part of the convoy, and it had been accredited.
Julle,
Your Worship,
volgens my kennis,
according to my knowledge,
die voertuig was nie deel van die konvooi nie.
the vehicle was not part of the convoy.
What indicates the end of the convoy? What shows you this is the end of the convoy?
Julle agbare,
Your Worship,
as ons nou kyk na die footage,
if we look at the footage,
die laaste voertuig was 'n BMW gewees
the last vehicles were BMW,
en dan BMW. Daar 'n minuut 2 minute verloop voordat
and there was a passing of 2-3 minutes before
die Vito
the Vito. The witness is gesturing towards his left.
dat die Vito bedek gearriveer het.
The Vito arrived there. It was 2 or 3 minutes passed or lapsed before the Vito could arrive there.
That doesn't answer the question. What vehicle indicates to you that it's the end of the convoy, sir?
Die laaste voertuig wat ingekom het is die BMW.
The last vehicle that entered was a BMW.
And does it have a sign up, end of the convoy?
Ongelukkig nie.
Unfortunately not.
Aren't they surrounded on both sides by motorcycles? Front and back.
Kan net herhaal asseblief?
Can you repeat, please?
Isn't the convoy surrounded on both sides, front and back, by motorcycles?
Hang maar wat so operasie dit is, die edele.
It depends on which operation it is, Your Worship.
En dan op sekere operasies breek die motorfietsse weg.
And on certain operations, the motorcycles would disperse.
And on this one?
Die motorfietsse van die konvooi
The motorcycles of the convoy
het nie ingekom by die hek nie.
did not enter through the gate.
They waited outside.
Daar's motorfietsse buitekant en later het hulle in beweeg.
There was motorcycles outside and later they proceeded inside.
And they were the front and rear of the convoy. Do you agree with me?
Dis hulle ry, dis korrek.
That's how they drive. That is correct.
And there were motorcycles behind this vehicle. So.
Daar was geen motorfietsse agter wat ek gesien het nie.
There was no motor vehicles behind what I saw.
The fact that you never saw it doesn't mean that it never happened. So there's a permit that I've shown you that you never saw either.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Beg your pardon. I want to put you, in case it comes up later, it might not be directly relevant to you, that Mr. Mandela was involved in the proceedings from even the Friday evening before, in the ritual of taking the body to the home in the delegation. Do you have any comment?
Ek wil nie kennis daarvan hê julle.
I bear no knowledge of that, Your Worship.
You've given an explanation of the convoy. Where was the priest's car, the people that conducted the ceremony?
Julle, ek ken nie die uitleg van die hele konvooi nie.
Your Worship, I do not know the setup of the whole convoy.
But the priests would have been in the convoy, do you agree with me? The religious leaders.
Ek glo sê julle.
I believe so, Your Worship.
Part of the convoy with accreditation in the vehicle that had been escorted from before the ceremony at the stadium. Do you agree with me?
Ek glo so julle.
I believe so, Your Worship.
And I want to put you that that's the same in the instance of this vehicle. It had also been accredited earlier that morning and it formed part of the procession and part of the convoy.
Julle, volgens my was die voertuig nie deel van die konvooi nie.
According to myself, Your Worship, this vehicle was not part of the convoy.
Now there's been a passage of time, it's 2 years, you've worked there. Did you ever find any official notification that this vehicle did not form part of the convoy?
Of geen staan aan nie, geen stadium.
At no stage.
Why not? You know that's the whole dispute here. So now you've, on our summation, which you don't accept, shown how your version changed. You work with this every single day. You're in the President's security, you have access to all the records. You could very easily have inquired, did this vehicle ever form part of the convoy, but you have never done so. Do you agree with me?
Julle agbare,
Your Worship,
dat ek die voertuig gestop het
when I stopped the vehicle
en meneer Malema is in die voertuig
and Mr. Malema was inside the vehicle
en hy gesê het hy gery in
and he said he will drive in,
en nie inloop nie.
not walking in,
Toe het ek voor die voertuig gaan staan
I went and stood in front of the vehicle
om Vok te kontak
to contact VOC
vir toestemming
for permission
vir die voertuig om in te kom.
for the vehicle to enter.
I've heard that, but you never made contact with VOC. The ceremony was beginning. Do you agree with me?
Julle agbare, voordat ek met Vok kon praat,
Your Worship, before I could speak to walk,
het daar onder ons die plaas gevind,
that incident or altercation happened,
soos wat ons gesien het op die video.
as we saw on the video.
Because they believed that they were entitled to enter. And they told you so. Do you agree with me?
Agbare,
Your Worship,
volgens my,
according to myself,
die voertuig
the vehicle
het nie toestemming gehad om in te kom nie.
did not have permission to enter.
Daarom het ek vir Bok gekontak
That is why I contacted VOC
om toestemming te kry
to get permission
vir die voertuig om in te gaan.
to allow the vehicle to enter.
Now we're back at the original question. Did you ever establish as a fact that the vehicle is not entitled to enter in the ensuing past 2 years?
Kan jy net 'n bietjie harder praat asseblief,
Can
meneer?
you just
pleasure.
speak up loud, please?
Did you ever establish as a fact that that vehicle is not entitled to enter over the past 2 years?
Heel agbare,
Your Worship,
ek het soos ek sê, Bok probeer kontak.
I tried, as I said, I tried to contact the VOC.
Ek het nie weet Bok kontak gemaak nie.
I was unable to make contact with VOC or get hold of VOC.
Toe die onder ons die plaas gevind het
And then the altercation happened,
en dis waar dit geëindig het.
and that is where it ended.
Ek het nie afgelope 2 jaar
I have never in the past 2 years,
met Bok gepraat nie.
I have never spoken to VOC in this past 2 years.
Thank you for answering my question. Why not? We've been to Solidarity, attorneys, AfriForum, consultations, police officers, 3 statements, and you couldn't get hold of VOC that day, and you've never gone back to find out from them, despite all these proceedings, as to whether, in fact, you were right or wrong in stopping the vehicle.
Julle agbare,
Your Worship,
na die voorval
after the incident,
was generaal Zulu generaal Zulu
General Zulu
na Bok gegaan.
did go to VOC.
Sy het die saak bespreek met
She discussed the matter with
luitenant-generaal
Lieutenant General
Sam Sitlabane.
Sam Sitlabane.
And
Generaal Sam Sitlabane
General Sam Sitlabane
het my ingeroep
called me in
om te vra wat gebeur het by die hek.
to ask me what had happened at the gate
Hy het my meegedeel
and informed me,
dat ek moet onthou,
sorry,
ek moet onthou,
that I should remember
ons is een familie.
that we are one family,
En wat gebeur het by die hek
and what took place or had happened at the gate
was verkeerd geweest.
was wrong.
Ek het vir hom gesê
I told him
dat ek wil graag 'n saak oopmaak.
that I would really like to open a case.
En dit is waar ons die saak geopen het.
And that is when, or subsequent to that, I had the case instituted or opened a case.
But when you spoke to him, did you, he or the general ever find out as a fact whether this vehicle was entitled to go into the ceremony or not?
Nie waarvan ek kennis dra nie, julle.
Not according to my knowledge, Your Worship.
But that's so fundamental to everything here, Colonel. That's what I don't understand. Either you are right in preventing the vehicle from going in, which doesn't tie in with the rest of the facts, or they were right in insisting on going in. Do you agree with me?
That's correct.
That is correct, yes.
So why can't you 2 years later answer that very fundamental question?
Want ek is nie terug na generaal Sam toe nie.
Because I never, or I did not go back to General Sam,
En ek het nie antwoord gekry op daai nie.
and I did not get an answer on that.
So even as you stand here today, you don't know whether you are justified in refusing that vehicle entry or not.
Julle,
In terms of, I beg your pardon, in terms of the full protocol and what applied to that day, do you agree with me?
julle,
Your Worship,
op my spesifieke dag,
on that specific day,
wanneer ek die voertuig gestop het,
when I stopped the vehicle,
het ek nadat ek met die bestuurder gepraat het,
after I had spoken to the driver,
en ek voor die voertuig gaan staan het,
and I went and stood in front of the vehicle.
het ek Wok probeer kontak,
I tried to contact VOC,
maar meneer Malema, Dr. Ndlozi,
but Mr. Malema and Dr. Ndlozi
is die voertuig uitgeklim
alighted from the vehicle,
en onder ons het plaasgevind,
and the incident or the altercation happened.
voordat ek enige antwoord kon kry van Wok.
Before I can get any answer or could get any answer from VOC.
So you contacted VOC on the 18th of April 2018 and you're still waiting for the answer. That's how I understand you.
Here,
Your Worship,
dis gekom na die onder onsie,
sorry.
na die onder onsie,
After the altercation,
en nadat die proses in is,
after the process or the procession entered,
is ek na generaal Sam toe,
I went to General Sam,
en ja,
and yes,
ek het nie, ons het nie gepraat,
and we did not speak. Yes, we did not speak
om te sê hy toestemming om te kom of nie.
to say whether he had permission to enter or not,
Want die voertuig was al toe reeds ingewees.
because the vehicle had already entered.
But you still don't know whether you were justified by refusing that car entry on that day. Do you agree?
Kan jy nie harder praat, ek kan nie hoor nie?
Can you please speak up, please? I
You
cannot
still,
hear you.
I beg your pardon, you still do not know whether you were justified in refusing that car entry or not. Do you agree?
Volgens my het ek reg opgetree hulle.
According to myself, I behaved accordingly so, or according to what I did was within my right.
And you've had no regard to whether they believe that they were right in insisting on going into the cemetery.
Hulle agbare,
Your Worship,
ja, hulle het ook die reg om in te gaan,
they also have the right to enter,
maar ons protokol het gevolg moet word,
but there's protocol that is to be followed,
en nie die aanranding nie.
not an assault.
Now, if you were correct and that vehicle was not allowed to enter, what's the correct procedure to be followed?
Julle agbare,
Your Worship,
as ek wil kontak,
when I contacted VOC
en om hulle mee te deel,
to inform them
dat die voertuig is by die hek,
that this vehicle is at the gate,
en ek soek toestemming,
and I would like a permission
vir die voertuig in te kom.
for the vehicle to enter,
Hulle sal dan met die volkommander,
they will then, with the VOC commander,
op daai stadium was dit luitenant-generaal,
at that stage it was Lieutenant General
Sam Sitlabane,
Sam Sitlabane,
so hy sou die antwoord gegee het,
he would have given the answer,
om dat hulle kan inkom of nie.
whether they can enter or not.
You haven't answered the question. We're going to do this so many times, but let me try again. What is the correct procedure if a car that's not entitled to enter enters?
Nou agbare, soos ek nou verduidelik het,
Your Worship, as I explained,
die voertuig as hy nie mag ingaan nie.
when a vehicle is not supposed to enter,
Dis die prosedure wat ons volg.
there are procedures, or as dirty
Dis
procedure.
prosedure.
Those are the procedures that we follow. I stand to be corrected, Your Worship. Is that
Dis
correct?
korrek.
Correct, Your Worship.
What procedure? You're not answering the question, Colonel.
Julle het gesê die voertuig mag nie ingaan nie.
As I said, Your Worship, the vehicle is not supposed to enter.
Ek het Wok gekontak,
I contacted the VOC.
dis die prosedure wat ons volg.
Those are the procedures that we follow.
And then you just leave it. So you phone VOC, you say there's a car carrying a bomb going in, and you leave it at that.
Hange van omstandighede julle.
It depends on the circumstances, Your Worship.
But in these circumstances, if you firmly believed that this car was not allowed to go in, why didn't you take any follow-up action to prevent it or follow that vehicle coming in without permission?
Julle die opdragte is deurgegee na Wok toe.
Your Worship, these instructions were passed on to VOC.
Ek kan nie kommentaar lewer op wat gebeur het in Wok nie.
I cannot deliver or give any comment as to what happened at VOC or VOC.
That doesn't end like that. We know the car went in, the funeral procession took place, and it left peacefully, and nobody's ever questioned that car going in and remaining there for the ceremony. Do you agree with me?
Ek stem.
I agree.
So either they condoned it or it was allowed from the beginning. Do you agree with me?
Van die begin af was die voertuig nie toegelaat nie.
From the beginning, the vehicle was not allowed.
Nobody's ever answered that question. I asked you earlier, you've never got hold of VOC to find out whether it was or not allowed.
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
So if it wasn't allowed, what have you done about the vehicle going in illegally on your version?
Eerder as ons kyk na die video,
Your Worship, if we watch the video,
Generaal Zulu het by my kom staan
General Zulu came and stand here next to me.
en sy het net gesê, leave it. Sy het net gesê, kalm.
She just said, leave it, and said, come down.
From which one must have inferred that they were entitled to enter. Do you agree with me?
Ek dink sy het dit gedoen om die onder onsie,
I think she did it to...
die onder onsie, die misverstand wat daar was,
I think she did it so that the misunderstanding that was there,
om dit te ontlont.
just to, pardon me, Your Worship, now the interpretation has gone, just to make that incident not to continue, to disperse the incident that took place, Your Worship. Am I correct,
Yes,
Your
thank
Worship?
you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
So she calmed it down on the day. That was the reaction. Is that what you're saying?
Dis hoe ek het verstaan.
That's how I understand it, Your
But
Worship.
if a protocol had been broken, or some law or something had been contravened, why was there no further action?
Julius, wat Generaal Zulu met Generaal Setlebane?
Your Worship, what General Zulu along with General Setlebane
Bespreek het, kan ek nie sê nie.
discussed, I cannot say.
No, but we know. After that, there was no call for backup or to forcibly remove the vehicle. It was allowed in, and nobody took the matter further other than you proceeding on a common assault charge. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
From which, if we have to draw an inference, the authorities saw nothing wrong. They never pursued it. They never went and said, Mr. Malema, Dr. Ndlozi, you weren't allowed in there. You weren't allowed to take your vehicle. We're prosecuting you for that.
Ja, op daai vraag kan ek nie antwoord nie.
Your Worship, yes, on that question, I cannot answer.
And you, on the other hand, didn't go to your superiors to lay a charge. Anything. You went to your solidarity movement to do so. Is that correct?
Ek het 'n saak gemaak by die polisiestasie
I opened a case at the police station
omdat ek lid is van Solidariteit.
because I am a member of the Solidarity.
Het ek na toe gegaan om die saak met hulle te bespreek.
I went to them to go and discuss the matter with them.
Okay, you're repeating what I'm saying. But you never went to your employers or superior officers and said, listen, here was a serious breach of protocol. I need your support. Let's bring them to book for breaching this protocol.
Julle, my generaal op daai stadium,
General.
die generaal,
Thank you. Your Worship, my general at that stage, or the general at that stage,
van ons eenheid,
of our unit,
ons brigadier,
our brigadier,
dra kennis van die voorval.
does bear knowledge of this incident.
And did nothing about it.
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
That's my point, sir. So you went to the authorities, you told them, you told VOC, you made a full disclosure, and they all said they're not doing anything about it, and we know they haven't taken any action. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek julle.
That is correct, Your Worship.
And from that, I'm putting to you that they were entitled to enter with the vehicle, because if they had broken any particular law or regulation or protocol, they would be primary target number one that would be prosecuted for that.
Julle, as
Your Worship, if,
ek die voertuig toegelaat het sonder magtiging,
Your Worship, should I have allowed the vehicle to enter or entry without authority,
dan sou ek in die moeilikheid gekom het.
I would have been gotten into trouble.
Dis hoekom ek VOC gekontak het
That is why I contacted VOC
vir toestemming
for permission
vir die voertuig om in te
for
gaan.
the vehicle to enter.
Now we know the vehicle vehicle did enter and it went through. You've seen it on the video. Nobody's come to prosecute you for allowing it in. Do you agree with me?
Kan jy net herhaal?
Can you repeat
This
that,
year.
please?
We now know, excuse me. Just want to get some water. Thank you. We now know that the vehicle went in and you haven't received any flack or any problems for allowing it in. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek, Heer Land.
It's correct, Your Worship.
And from that, I'm putting it to you that you know that that vehicle was allowed to go inside.
Volgens my was die voertuig nie toegelaat binne die perseel nie.
Your Worship, according to myself, the vehicle was not allowed inside the premises.
And let me ask you the question differently now. If the vehicle was part of the convoy and had accreditation, you had no authority to block it from entering. Do you agree with me?
Laasbaar as die voertuig deel van die konvooi was, in die konvooi,
Your Worship, if the vehicle was part of the convoy and it was also the vehicles amongst the convoy,
sou hy nie gestop gewees het nie.
the vehicle would not have been stopped.
That's not the question, and you know it. I'm going to repeat this question yet again. If the vehicle was part of the convoy and had accreditation, you had no right to stop it. Do you agree with me?
As die voertuig deel van die konvooi was,
If the vehicle was part of the convoy,
dan sou ek hom nie gestop het nie.
I would not have stopped it.
Second time, let's try third time lucky. The question is if the vehicle had accreditation and was part of the convoy, you did not have the authority to stop it. Do you agree with me?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Your Worship, I do believe I'm done. I see it's almost 1 o'clock. Could you take the lunch adjournment? I'll take final instructions, but I do believe I'm done and that we can proceed to the next witness soon thereafter. I just want to make absolutely certain, if I may.
Okay, can I just also get clarity for re-examination? So that will give us an indication whether we should start at 2 o'clock with re-examination or not.
Your Worship, I do indeed have re-examination, Your Worship.
So we'll reserve it then for 2
Your Worship,
o'clock.
I'm not finished. I just want to take an instruction to make sure.
Yes, I just wanted to get clarity with regards to yourself. I am aware, but I also wanted to see how long we will be as well. Mr. Venter, you're still under oath. Can I also get clarity with regards to the video itself? Will it still be used in terms of other witnesses? At this stage, just to have the exhibits in safekeeping, I have indicated yesterday that the court will take possession of all the exhibits. Just bear in mind, I have not taken possession of the exhibit. At this stage, I think just before we do adjourn, because now there is 2 videos which was played to the court. It was a short one and a long one. I believe there is no objection with regards to the longer version of the video that we have seen yesterday. So I just need to know which video will be submitted. Will it be both the short one as well as the long one?
I confirmed, Your Worship, that the video that ought to be used, which I hadn't seen before, is the long one. The short one is just, as I understand it from other friends, an extract of that one from the same vantage point. So I believe that officially the longer version should be handed in.
Longer version.
I'm going to ask for a copy of that because I don't have it. But
Okay.
we're in agreement. We don't dispute that that's the video that is the appropriate one for Your Worship to view and to be handed in as an exhibit.
Exhibit. Thank you.
In agreement, Your Worship, I do believe that the longer video, Your Worship, should be added in, please.
With regards then to the video, the court will only receive the video after the video has been fully used by state and the defense in this regard. At this stage, the video must be safe kept in the possession of the state in this regard. The state should take care of the video and see to it that it does not get lost in this regard.
For record purposes, Your Worship,
And make us a copy as well, please, Your Worship.
for
I believe I do not have to rule on such
We will-
incident. The state will make it available to the defense. I believe there would not be any problem with regards to such.
For
Is there
record
anything else,
purposes,
Ms.
Your
Hart?
Worship, the video footage will be kept with Mr. Baba currently, Your Worship. We are still going to use it, Your Worship, with the other witnesses as
Witnesses as well.
Please
Thank
support.
you.
Just
Court
for
is
record
now
purposes.
order. We will then adjourn for the lunch hour. We will resume at 2 o'clock. Just before we do adjourn, sorry, ma'am.
Priska?
Sorry? I just need Just as the court have ruled, the court will adjourn.
All right.
Yeah, after the proceedings.
Before we adjourn, we look at the possible dates. Now, run away. I know. Ian.
Take your water.
So, what?
I'm not came to the street January. How much is my birthday? I can't come here.
After the third. After the third. No, wait, we're still deciding. We haven't agreed on anything as yet. We haven't agreed on anything as yet. We need a date. Can I get what you guys have available?
The lady started
What? It's not his business. You're making my next day or what? I need to get my next there. It's almost